Okay. Tonight is a special, just no agenda live stream. I had a lot of energy, maybe a little bit too much for a late Sunday night. It's about 30 minutes till midnight for me. And I just thought I'd use the opportunity to get a few things done and answer some questions. I have a huge queue of questions on YouTube and on Reddit. And there's some sort of chores I have to take care of. I mean, related to drawing tablets. And if anyone wants to join for chat, I am here to take your questions. I know I do have a lot of people who aren't, across the world, so some of you are probably online. And a few things I can show you as well, which might be interesting. Let me move my chat. Okay, and let me go just talk to the Discord and let them know I am actually streaming. And let me turn on my music too. Is it? There we go. I'm going to pick some more music for the background. Even I'm getting tired of the same 20 songs. I used to go to a restaurant a lot. I mean, it was like an everyday thing. And sometimes I would just stay there and do some work. And I remember the staff would tell me that they were driven crazy by the repetition of the music. And I sort of intellectually understood that, but now I understand. You hear the same thing multiple times a day, and I hear the same song multiple times a stream. It starts to get on my nerves. Let's see, where am I? Let's find that link for the chat. I'm not expecting anyone to join the stream, but again, this is just to take care of some business and use this as an opportunistic moment for people who need to ask a question. I've noticed on the Reddit, especially, that questions come in waves. So, for example, it's not just when a new tablet gets introduced, but Windows updates or a Mac OS update. Sometimes an application update will start a wave of problems with drawing tablets that people will start asking. I think a wave happened recently because there was a Windows update very recently. Live now. Camera. I'm going to start some notes as well as I get started. That way, since this is just a chill stream, let me take a look. So there's a lot of... Okay. Hey, Tablet Kitten has joined us. Hello, Tablet Kitten. The topic is whatever you want it to be. I am just going to go over various thoughts, do some work. Work means not work since I'm retired, but there's lots of questions on the Reddit or Discord or chores I have to do, like documents I have to write for my tablet stuff. So if we want to talk about any topic, let me know. I am here for it. I think the first question, actually, let me get my notes ready because I want to, my OneNote, because Koyo had a question that I wanted to, I think it was Koyo, had a question that I wanted to answer. Let's see if I can find it. I think the question is, what am I using for streaming? Or actually, more specifically, it was, why am I streaming with a Mac? Okay, so we'll talk about that. Let me just get my notes here. Add a page. What is today? The 22nd. Wow, this June has passed by very quickly. Okay, I've created a page. And a classic art question. Should we get the F-16, F-35 discussion done now, or we'll leave it for late stream? You know, we might as well begin. Let me just finish one question before we get to that. And I'd like to expand that, Arch, to talk about aviation, military aviation, some other planes that I think about a lot, and I'd just like to share my opinion about those planes. So let me answer Koyo's question first. Let's see, this was Koyo, which was, why do I stream on a Mac? And you can't see what I'm seeing, so I'll fix that. I think it's this. Yeah, you can see it now. Okay, great. And let me move my Windows. Oops, not that. I'll lock that overlay. I love Ecamm, actually. Okay, there's actually several reasons for this. Okay, first is Nummer one reason is I have trouble getting the right settings for OBS to stream with good quality. So I know people can, I've seen them do it, but for whatever reason, I have not been able to do it. It's not a hardware problem, right? And I know that because I'm streaming with Ecamm Live. Okay, so let me just write that down. So I use Ecamm Live. And Ecamm Live, which comes sort of out of the box, OOB, out of the box, very good quality. Now Ecamm Live is Mac only. So this is Mac OS only. Okay? And probably, to be quite honest, I was influenced by a couple of streamers that do use Ecamm Live. And I'll just write down who it is as well. Influenced by some other streamers. And I left out an F there. Actually, Tablet Kitten has a comment here, and I think it's worth talking about. Windows is quite straightforward with OBS. Mac seems a lot harder to get set up. Listen, I believe for some people it's probably easy. I would say it was incredibly easy with OBS. The challenge I had with OBS was actually, what's the right word? Was me learning Mac OS. It wasn't anything else than that. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to increase my own volume so I can hear my own music a bit better. There we go. I'm rocking out. There we go. So Tom Buck. I'm going to show you his channel real quick because he is. Let's see, YouTube. Yeah. Tom Buck. This is the guy, Tom Buck, right here. Oops, let me turn down. Okay, he's great. He is great, and he is one of the people who use Ecamm. And he's got a nice setup. So I was kind of influenced by him in a lot of ways with the audio equipment, his setup, the desk he has, the really amazing looking room he's in. And yeah, like I said, he uses Ecamm. So that was another sort of reason I picked it up. Um, there's another streamer, Luria Petrucci, I believe is her name, formerly called Callie Lewis a long time ago. She was talking about Ecamm, and I've always been delighted by, her presence, and it seemed like she was saying it was pretty easy, and I thought it was pretty easy to get set up. So that's part of what why I use Mac instead of Windows. The second thing, honestly, is what I'd call form factor. Mir has joined us. Hello, Mir. It is so good to see you. I know I think you missed the last stream, but I think you were watching the video on demand. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Happy to answer any questions. Right now, I'm answering a question by Koyo, who asked, why am I? Oh, Koyo, thank you so much for pinging on the Discord. I forgot that since I just began this randomly. Thank you. So form factor. So let me just make sure you know what I'm doing. I'm actually using a M1 Mac Studio. So this was, I think, the first version of the Mac Studio released. And here's what I like about it. First of all, it is small. It has a decent number of ports, just fantastic. I have a lot of cameras, and we're going to show you the setup. Actually, I took a photo, which I will show you. Hey, Koyo has another question. No, Koyo, I don't record to my NAS while streaming. I can record locally, certainly. I just have never felt the need to. Because new YouTube keeps the stream as a recording as well, though probably not as high quality as Ecamm could do it as. But that's a good idea because, you can't really depend on these services, and YouTube is essentially free for me. You can't depend on these services to keep all this content forever. So I should start recording it. And Nick, to answer your questions, the topic is whatever people want. I actually, it's almost midnight for me, and I just had too much energy. So I decided, and I had some work to do. I had questions to answer on YouTube and on Reddit. I had some maybe documents to write, and I have not been streaming late. So I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. My international audience hasn't had a chance to see me because I've been streaming more in the middle of the day or even in the morning in the United States, Pacific time. So I'm just here to answer whatever people want, talk about any topic. And the first question again was Koyo, who asked me, why do I use Mac OS instead of, and let me just thank Koyo. Thank you, Koyo, in the Discord. Remembering to ping. Let's see, Mir says, hot topic, but I never really had a good experience with Mac when it comes to drawing. I think Mac has many disadvantages. Mir, I would love for you to share what was the bad experience, because it could be a lot of things. You may not like Mac OS, you may not have liked the app, you may not have liked some aspect of how Mac OS does Windows. I'm really curious, right? Because, I'm a Clip Studio guy, and because the app is so important, I sort of am okay switching between the Mac and Windows when I'm using Clip Studio Paint, okay? Art says, I wouldn't trust Google keeping my data safe, or even for is it pictosecond or picosecond, Arch? Yeah, listen, you cannot depend on any cloud service to keep your data around. Let me just give you an example. So Microsoft, please keep in mind, I work for Microsoft and I love Microsoft. And I think a decade ago or longer, we had OneDrive, and they said, okay, well, it's unlimited. You can put as much as you want. And you know what happened? 99% of people probably put in 10 megabytes or less, but 0.01% of people were just backing up their entire life and probably putting terabytes. And of course, economics don't work sense. So they had to go back from this unlimited promise. I forgot what it is right now. On top of it, to be quite honest, you have to be concerned about them scanning things that you have and saying, well, we don't like that you have this, right? There was one story about a man who had sent pictures of a child in his house to a doctor to identify some problem the child was having, and then that was flagged as something inappropriate, even though it was for a medical reason. And there's no appeals to this thing. So content can be removed, you can be banned. And it's a tough problem to deal with this kind of content. So long ago, I had many, many gigabytes on OneDrive, and all of that got moved onto my local NAS. Now, don't get me wrong, I really should back it up in more than just one place, but or I should have a backup besides the NAS, right? So there are pros and cons to my approach. Let's see, 7 pens. Nick has if you need some deep topic related to tablets to investigate, try tablet mount stands, ergo arms, super important stuff for posture. Hey, you know what? Why don't we pick up on that in this stream, right? Remember, we can take whatever picosecond. It is picosecond arch. Good. Thank you for confirming. Mir says it was working, but there was no pressure and lines were very wobbly like a mouse cursor. And Mir, which app was that? Could you just tell us? Rain Soaked Puppy, don't open up the questions, topics, or whatever. I'll start pestering about motorcycles. Well, listen, you can pester me. I don't know anything about motorcycles. I just know that they have 2 wheels. Actually, I do know something about motorcycles. If you go by, I think if you look at transportation safety, you can look at like casualties by distance traveled, by time traveled, and by number of trips during the travel. There's one conveyance, one vehicle, which is the top of casualties for all 3 metrics, and that's motorcycles. My dad was he loved motorcycles. I've been on one, never, for a few seconds. I moved it around. But I'm terrified of motorcycles. I would not get on them. Or more appropriately, I wouldn't drive one. Would be probably a better way of saying it. Okay, Koyo says streamers use OBS not only for streaming, but also for multiple tasks, like recording a stream, using plugins for interactive stuff with chat, and using plugins for collabing with other online streamers. I do need to learn more about OBS, Koyo. I do, and I recognize that it does way more than streaming. Thank you for reminding us that. I don't know its full power, right? I just know I struggled a lot with it. Now, there's a new I'm going to just go ahead and call it streaming software called Meld, which has had some, a lot of, in the last month, a lot of people have talked about it. And I tried it out very briefly. It's like a simpler OBS. I'm not saying it correctly. I'm not probably explaining its value, but I'm going to try again with Windows, right? Actually, now that you mentioned that, let me get back to trying to answer your question, which is why am I using Mac OS, okay? And it goes back to the M1 Mac Studio. It's silent, right? I have a very powerful Windows PC, just so you know. It's 128 gigs of RAM, right? And it's 16 cores, okay? But the fans spin up too much. That's it. If I could, no, I think I had to reinstall Windows, so I didn't install all the drivers. So, the fans spin up for no obvious reason sometimes. If I can solve that problem, I'll probably give it another try. I'm more than willing to try Windows, don't get me wrong. I just want to be simple and quiet. And there are limitations of the M1 Mac Studio that I have. It doesn't have enough ports. And another example is, you can't have, what do you call it, a PCI, whatever those cards, right? Because there's one from Elgato that lets you capture HDMI, which is really low, super low latency than a USB capture card. But the thing spins up the fans and it's loud and the fans register on the microphone. So that's another reason why I use the Mac OS, right? Let's see. Rain-soaked puppy. Yeah, we're going all over these topics. This is fun. Roommate was considering renewing her subscription for OneDrive, and I showed her that 1 terabyte M.2 drive. Yeah, yeah. You know, the economics work out, especially if you can get another backup for it, right? Now, on my NAS, I just want to say, I have, what would you call it? I'll use the normal language. There's a recycle bin feature, excellent. I also have, I don't know what you call it in Linux. In Windows, we would call it volume shadow copy. In other words, there's a snapshot that happens every couple of hours. So basically, you've got a history of all files for a long time, months. And so it's really hard to lose stuff on that NAS, right? Even if you deliberately delete it. But I want to get 2 NAS systems just because I'm starting to get a lot of files. All my content for this channel, for example, especially if I start taking Koyo's suggestion to record my streams and content, I want to back it up. I don't want to lose any of that. And yes, Arch, multiple physical backups and a cloud drive. I may try the cloud sync on my Synology drive. I'm very curious about it. Let's see, Mir says, I used OTD2 and the pressure didn't, well, let me put my normal face on here. Let's get Mir here. I used OTD also and the pressure didn't work as well, but it was working as a pen. Referring to the app, it wasn't working on anything. It sounds like a generic driver problem then. Usually if it's, or not driver, it's like a operating system and driver interaction problem. A Lotus Elise, Mazda Miata. Yeah, I can believe that. A lot of the motorcycle riders I know have sworn them off after an accident or a close call. I was, by the way, people don't know this. I do mention it every now and then. I used to be a volunteer firefighter. So I went to a lot of automobile accidents also, in addition to fires, house fires. And, you know, it'll teach you lessons. You'll, and when I was very young when I did. I started as a volunteer firefighter when I was 16. And it made me religiously wear my seatbelt, I'll tell you that. And I would never drive someone without a seatbelt. Because you realize what can happen, which I saw many times. Let's see, Rain-Soaked Puppy. I haven't owned a working car for 10 years. I wish I was like that, Rain-Soaked Puppy. I'm not too far away from that. Since I retired, I don't have to drive anywhere. Honda CTX 100. Let's see, it looks like Amir fixed the issue. I want to do Linux soon. I really want to do a stream or a video on using Linux for art. I'm a little bit hampered right now because, you know, I use Clip Studio Paint. And until I can use Clip Studio Paint on Linux, it's not going to work for me. I need to be able to do that. I don't want to use a VM. I don't think Wine works well enough, or whatever is around for that. A good point about the safety of, yeah, look, we have some massive vehicles on the road, and they're getting too big. And, you know, there's all sorts of, like, reasons why. Some, apparently, I think some efficiency regulations caused manufacturers to sell these incredibly large trucks because they were able to evade the regulations. Nick, I'll jump into the Ergo Arm topic in just a second, okay? Anyone here use Ergo Arms with Pro Display tablets? Arm pulling back to display. Yeah, let's talk. There's multiple topics there. The arms and then using a pen display as a monitor. Let's do that. That's a good one. And let me just get through a few more comments here, and we'll pick that one, Nick. Let's see. Mir primarily uses Linux. Okay. Koyo says, if it's a PC tower, one of the solutions is you can replace all the fans with magnetic ones, or undervolt and reduce the clock speed. Yeah, that's, I'm glad you brought that up because when I'm recording or streaming with OBS, the CPU percentage is like 2%. And the fans are like, it's like taking off in a jet plane. So it's incongruent, right? It's just incongruent what's causing this. A good point, Archie. Toucan says, I want to like Windows, but it's too much work to make work right. It's probably because of the hardware where it kicks off. Fancy. Yeah, that's what I hear. And again, in my case, I think the computer was quiet, but then I reinstall Windows and I didn't install certain drivers, and that causes all sorts of problems. Penguin Sushi. Okay, I tell you what. Penguin Sushi, I think you asked me about this Huion before. Let me talk about it, and then we'll get to Nick's comment. Okay, so let me just write this down. We've got some comments here. We've got Penguin Sushi, which is the WH. I did get it. Thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot to. And then we'll do Nick, and he has two-parter here. He has monitor, arms, mounts, etc. And I think also he had using pen display as monitor. So we'll address both. Let's start though. Mir, you should have another HDMI port. You should be able to still use it. Of course, you have to use the 3-in-1 cable. Okay, for Penguin Sushi, let me go get the tablet so everyone can see it. Because I do want to talk about it, and this is a perfect use of the stream. I'll be right back. I'm back. And this is a perfect opportunity to show you a new setup I have. Okay, give me a second. Mir, how about you don't have an extra HDMI port? How about a display port? Okay, so Penguin Sushi asked about this tablet, which is an older Huion tablet. It's not, is it focusing? It's the WH, you can't see it so easily, so let me put it here, right? It's, what is the number here? Hang on. Huion didn't always label these things so clearly. WH1409 V2. What a tablet name. Whew. Okay, so first of all, this is a large tablet. This is about as big as a Huion Giano. Actually, you know what? Give me a second. I'm going to get the Huion Giano because it's good for you to compare, right? And we'll talk about the comparison. So let me get that one too. I have returned. Okay, so I got the Giano here. This is the Giano G930L. I love the name Giano. I normally say Giano, but I think it'd be cooler if I was able to always consistently say the Huion Giano. Giano. Does that sound a little Italian? Giano. I don't think the Italians will be upset with me. Okay, so, I have a new camera view. Give me a second. I'm gonna just, I'm gonna set this up a little bit easier so I can switch to the view a bit easier. So give me a moment. Paste. Copy. Sorry, I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just pasting some things. Okay, this is a new view. And it's instead of the overhead view, it's one where you can see me from the side. Okay, so it'll make a few things a bit easier. And I just wanted to make sure you have the opportunity to see it. Okay, so this is the Huion Giano, and let me put my face here. Let me take it out here. So the first thing I got to tell you is it's thick. And I mean, it is THICC thick. If you compare it to any modern pen tablet, it's probably twice the width, okay? It's twice the width. You'll easily notice that, okay? Now, the other thing is, it kind of does look cool, don't get me wrong, but it is thick. Now, it's not heavy. It's not heavy at all. And yes, Amir, I will play and record myself playing Osu. Okay? And Penguin Sushi says, return from the basement of pen and display tablets. But I think Mihao, he picked the best name for it. He called it the Tablet Grotto. The Tablet Grotto. So I came back from the grotto. And some interesting features about this tablet, right? It is, you can't see it this way, of course. Okay. So it's got all these buttons here. There's three groups of 4 buttons. So it's got 12 buttons, which is kind of wild. That's a lot. And it's got some things that light up here, which is fine. Okay, it uses an older pen. So that is a limitation. And by the way, probably this tablet works fine. I did briefly draw on it. It felt fine. But some things that are a little bit out of date about it, you should just know about. Number one, it uses, I think this is, you can't see it, micro USB. So it's not a USB-C port. Okay? And it's kind of in there. So I'm not sure all cables would reach in there. That's another thing. Okay? And it does look cool. Honestly, it does look cool. The other thing, which was, it didn't affect me, but you should be aware about it, is, I'm gonna have to lift it up and do this for you. You'll have a hard time seeing this, so you have to imagine. Imagine my finger is the pen for a second, especially toward the middle. I don't know how to say this. This is so hard to explain. I'm holding it like a baby. As you press down with the pen, this flexes. The surface actually goes down a little bit. Now, you have to press with them if you're not paying attention, you might not notice it. But if you're touching it like any tablet, you'd be like, what's going on here? It flexes way more. A tablet should not flex when you're pressing to draw it, but you'll notice it here. Again, it's not much. It won't stop you from drawing, it won't interfere, but you definitely notice the age of this tablet. You can tell it's from an older generation of Huion. Again, it drew fine. I had no complaints, right? What did Tukan say? The 7 performance points. There you go. Rainsoak Puppy, It is about as thick as a Canvas 13 Gen 3 or a Canvas 16 Gen 3, right? And you can't see it, but it is at least twice as thick as the Huion Jiano. And again, I think it's of its time. You can understand that it made sense, but Huion has evolved in how they work. And this is really, you can tell it's from the previous generation of Huions. So nothing wrong with it. Okay, so while we're on this topic, let me just make my official advice for buying a Huion tablet, a pen tablet right now. You know, they just released Pentec 4.0 last year, and they have it in their Canvas Pro 19 and Pro 27 and 16 Gen 3 and 13 Gen 3. I would honestly tell people wait until they get pen tablets with Pentec 4.0 because those PW600 pens are really good. I know, yeah, you can get one of the ones that use a PW517 pen and then buy a PW550 pen, but I think you're just better off waiting, honestly. So what you're going to see most likely is, I would believe, I'm guessing, maybe Tablet Kitten would say more exactly, because Tablet Kitten knows this market better than I do in China. Later in the year, we expect Huion to release more tablets. Okay, there's two reasons for that. Number one, they need to get more tablets out there because their existing lineup is getting a little bit old. Not old, but it's getting a little dated, right? And then number two, I think they're going to have to answer Wacom's new tablets coming out this month, the Cintiq 16 and Cintiq 24 and 24 Touch, right? Oh, Koya, what a great idea. How do I do that? That's a great idea. I'm going to try it. I mean, this is good. That's one reason I like doing these streams, is I get to try techniques I have not normally done. So be a little patient with me. Koya has suggested I add a title, and I'm going to do it. But you just have to give me a little patience. Huion discussing. I'll do a little Huion WH1409V2. What a crazy name for a tablet. And then let's see if I can edit background. Background is a color. Sorry, it just takes a little effort for me to get all this done. I'll make this one bright green. Okay, how about this? Ooh, that looks fancy. I like this. Maybe I'll make this, maybe I'll put this a little below so you can, there we go. Right, that's what we're talking about right now. Terrific suggestion, Koya. Thank you. And this is good because if anyone watches the video on demand and they're like, where are we at? This will help them find which segments we're at, right? Okay. So now let me just, since we're changing topics slightly, I do want to talk about Huion advice in general. Huion buying advice. Okay, let's change that. It's a little bit not as easy to change as I expected, but I think it's a fantastic suggestion, Koyo. It does flex. It's not that bad, Penguin Sushi. Like, it doesn't interfere. It's surprising given, experience with modern tablets, honestly. And it just goes to show you they've rapidly evolved, right? Rainsoak Puppy says, came from S Pen to Pentec 4.0. It is a big improvement. Tablet Kitten says, what? My best guess is before next Chinese New Year. You can get the Canvas 13 Gen 3 and use it as a big pen tablet. Yeah, that's a possibility. Absolutely. Art has a good question. I suspect they will have a little bit more puncture lag, but I think also, a lot of the lag sensation is because your eyes have something to compare it to with the pen display. And so the test I haven't fully done, I've just sort of done it accidentally, is to use, turn off the display of a pen display and try it. And I have to be honest, sometimes I've done it and I haven't really noticed more lag than lots of other pen tablets, at least from that brand, right? So I need to do a little more investigation, right? Unfortunately, I don't have a clear way of measuring lag. Like I'd want some sort of machine that would move the thing, and I just don't have anything like that, okay? Okay, what was I gonna say? We talked about Huion and getting new tablets. Yeah, they're gonna have to address it because these new Wacom tablets are now going to be much more price competitive with Huion tablets. Okay, and for a lot of people, let's just say, I forgot how much the 16 costs. Let's just say it costs $700, the new Cintiq 16, and then let's just say the existing Huion Canvas 16 Gen 3 costs what, $600? That's $100 difference. Maybe it's $200. Lots of people put a lot of weight in the Wacom brand name. They're going to see that tablet and the difference. They're going to say, well, of course, it's a slight difference to get a Wacom. And the Wacom tablet is going to be good. Like something really crazy would have to happen for the Wacom tablet to not be good. I 100% believe it's going to be good. I can't wait to try it out. So a lot of people are going to think, well, that $100 is worth it, or $200 are worth it. That's going to put price pressure on Huion, and they're not going to have a clear answer. Remember, they don't have Wacom's non-pro tablet is better than their current Canvas 16 Pro, which is the previous generation, right? Has more anti-glare sparkle, has the older pen. So there's nothing to fight that, right? And I think Huion may have to reduce the cost of their Canvas 16 Gen 3 because it's $500? It doesn't compare well to the Cintiq 16, right? Because Wacom's brand name is worth quite a lot. Or does it get a lot better if the monitor's off? Don't know. I gotta test that. Nick Tyler says Huion XP Pen are pumping so many models I can't even remember their names, generations. Wacom updating key models like once in 7 years. Yeah, there are pros and cons. On the plus side, Wacom, on the, maybe not plus is not the right word, playing to the strengths of Wacom, they don't need to release tablets often. Remember, for a lot of people, the Intuos Pro 2017 is going to be a tablet that will be great for them for another 5 years, right? Its total lifetime is going to be, even if you have to switch to using Open Tablet Driver or something, it's easily going to be working great as a 20 or 30-year tablet, right? I've demonstrated multiple times on my stream how you can use a tablet from 1998 and 2001 with a modern version of Windows and Mac OS, and that was from a tablet that existed, well before YouTube existed, right? One of those tablets happened before, some exist before some of you were born. So Wacom does not need to make tablets often. Now, the situation is a little bit different with displays because display technology is evolving right now faster than EMR technology. There's more things going on. However, the good news about Huion and XP Pen getting new tablets, the bad part is it's confusing. People buy old tablets when they shouldn't. The good thing is that they are rapidly changing, right? If you compare a Huion tablet that was around in 2020 compared to one that's now in 2024, 2025, huge difference, right? And it's only going to get better for them. So it's challenges and advantages in both directions. Penguin Sushi says, how did you find the pen input response time of the old Huion? Honestly, I found it about very similar to a modern Huion. I didn't feel like it had much more lag, or I didn't notice any lag difference at all, honestly. Now, to be fair, I didn't measure like stroke quality. I don't think I looked at line wall, but let me double check real quick. Because I don't think I wrote down notes on this, but I'll... 14. Let's see, did I write any notes? I just took some, yeah, I didn't notice any line wall. I'll check again, right? But just as I was drawing, I didn't notice it. Okay, you got to see this comment from Mir. Can't wait for tablet models being named Canvas Predator 19 Gen 3 4K Ultra Max GS 419A24. Okay, look. There's a lot of funny things going on there, but let's give Huion some credit. They're the ones that have simple names and unique names. Huion Giano. Huion Frego. No, you like the Italian accent there. They don't have crazy stuff, right? Wacom, of course, does a few crazy things. And XP Pen and SenseLabs have really wild model numbers. Like, I can never remember what they are. Huion actually has decent model numbers. I don't know, our old... Sorry, I was going to say, back in the day, when I was a little bit younger, my buddy and I would sometimes go to a local mall and look at, tech, right? And there'd be all these graphics cards being sold. And my joke was like, the names were getting crazy, right? Because Samir mentioned Canvas Predator 19 Gen 4 4K. And these graphics cards were getting really violent and aggressive names. And my joke was like, we're going to see a graphics card with like, the NVIDIA serial killer 25,000. Looks like crazy names that were really inappropriate, right? So I don't know if they still do that. I haven't paid attention actually, but they were just wildly crazy names. Our tablets in general are lighter, but have less compliance in the drawing surface. So I wonder how they achieve it internally. Stiffer materials or geometric changes. Yeah, I'm really curious. Like this, the flex in this Huion tablet surprised the heck out of me, right? It did. Oh, one more thing that I didn't mention. I'm gonna just get I'm gonna get a pen here because it's worth talking about. This WH1409 V2 has a much smoother surface. Like, it's smooth. There's almost no texture on it, so the pen slides around more than you'd guess compared to a modern tablet. This was a thing with Huion. They didn't develop a textured surface until like the next generation. And you'll see that with a tablet like the Huion HS611, which is one of my favorite older Huion tablets. It was actually my first non-Wacom tablet ever. But it also has a smooth surface, very typical of that generation of Huion. Well, for many people, $100 is a lot. I would still get the Canvas. And the fortunate thing now is that Canvas 16 Gen 3 is a very good tablet. I'm hoping that Huion will actually reduce the price of that tablet to be like $200 less, right? Toucan says, I have high hopes for the new Cintiqs. I wish the 16-inch models had a touch version. Yeah, I have to be honest, I was very disappointed it didn't have touch, because that's one of the ways Wacom can easily distinguish their models from others is by adding touch. I only use touch like 1% of the time with the pen display that has it. Most of the time it's off, but when I use touch, it's useful. It's very useful in those moments. And I think it's a nice differentiating factor. And people, I think, are expecting touch because they're surrounded by their phones and iPads, right? Let's see. Art says Cintiq 16 is 800 Australian dollars. Canvas 16 is 700, so $100 difference. It's a hard sell, even if I trust in Huyan's latest products and use one currently. It is. It is. A lot of people at that price difference. I forgot where it's one of the things I learned when I was at Microsoft. This difference is small enough that the question transforms from, for a lot of people, not everyone, it transforms from why should I get the Wacom to why not get the Wacom, right? If it was a $300 difference, then you'd have to think about justifying it a bit more. But at $100, a lot of people, at least in certain markets, would say, well, why not, right? Again, I'm hoping the response will be Huion reduces the price of the Canvas 16 Gen 3 by another $100. Because again, at $200 will change the equation and people will be like, well, $400 for for this, the Huion, why do I have to get the Wacom? Yeah, exactly, Arch. If it was 800 versus 500, you'd feel very differently about the choice. Wacom Volito. What is that, Tukan? That's an older one, I believe, right? Like a Graphire type? Koyo says, Wacom Cintiq 1620. It's 800. It's 800, okay. Oh, sorry, in Australia, US dollars, sorry. Okay, and then 1250 in Australian dollars before VAT. Interesting. See, at $800 for touch, I thought would be reasonable. By the way, the Wacom Move Ink, which is 13 inches, is, $750, right? And so it's interesting that it makes the Move Ink seem more expensive than it should be, quite honestly. I have Rains of Puppy. I have a Wacom. Oh, which one? Yes. Wait, Wacom 1 or 1 by Wacom? Yes, 1. Rains of Puppy, do you know the old Who's on First bit? Do you know what I'm talking about? Who's on First? If you don't know, if that's not familiar for you, please say in chat. And I'll try to explain it for those who have never heard it. I'd recommend it, actually, for people to watch, though I'm not sure people who aren't American will get it, because it involves baseball. And some of it may be lost if you don't know baseball. Let's see, one Wacom 1 by one Wacom 1 Pro. GeForce 5027 POS. UCOR. Yeah, GeForce. Fake NVIDIA name, I love it. 1 by Wacom and 1 sucks, especially now that we have the new one. Well, hang on, Tukan. Let's be clear. I think I may disagree with this one. Okay. The 1 by Wacom CTL X72 series, right? So 472, 672 are fantastic tablets. I still recommend them for beginners, especially if you don't need tilt. And many people do not need tilt. The Wacom 1 tablet, the new ones, the pen displays are okay, but they're expensive for what they give you. The pen tablets have pressure problems. Okay? And so let's make sure we're on the same page, because I think 1 by Wacom is actually a very good tablet. I think it's really deeply under. In fact, the only criticism I have of it, honestly, is it uses a micro USB port. And yeah, the pen feels a little plasticky, but it's not bad. I think XP Pen are more on the cheerful part when it comes to naming. They literally got fun in their model names. Oh, they do have like a Deco Fun, isn't that right? do you also plan to get the 16? Yeah, yeah. I ordered the 24 Touch. I wanted to get the 16, but I could not. It's not. It's not in their inventory yet, so I will get it. The second it's available, I will get it. Right. I was wondering, since it's 1610, when using it as a pen tablet, do Cintiqs have a force proportion setting? Hey, that's a great thing to wonder about. I'll double check. The truth is, lots of pen tablets don't have force proportions because they don't anticipate you'd ever need that situation. So I will check. They should have it. Huion does have that setting for their pen displays, I believe. So I will check that. Thank you. Touch in Windows is 99% useless. Windows is nothing like. No, I disagree, Nick. Come on. Look, I've used a Microsoft Surface since 2012. Touch on Windows works very well. Now, I will say, in terms, so I guess it depends on what you mean by useless. In a sense, it's useless because most people don't use it. That 1% you use it is very convenient. And by the way, I'm talking about people at Microsoft. All of us were given Surfaces in 2012. Like literally, the entire company was given Surface RT devices, which everyone just threw away immediately because it wasn't powerful. And then over time, it just became the standard laptop you'd get. Everyone loves the device. I mean, everyone loves their Surface devices and the Surface Book and all that. But people just rarely use the Touch. Rarely, right? And it's more like you're busy doing something and like it's just obvious to click on something. It's not like you're drawing with your hand. It's not like you're doing anything fancy. You're just like, oh, I got to click that button. Why don't I just click that button? Like you might click it once or twice a day, that kind of thing. Mir wants to see tablets named after fruits or colored that way. I'm all for vibrantly colored computers and tablets. I like having a melon background on the box. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Let me just give you an example of where I'd like to see creative stuff go. Let's take a look at TourBox. Okay, I just want to show this to you. Hang on. And product. Let's look at the Elite. I believe this. Okay, maybe not the Elite. They had. I hate when. Maybe it's the. They had different colors for these things. Like really good ones, like lavender and just a beautiful red. I'm sure it was the Elite. Where were the colors? Maybe that was just a temporary thing they had, but anyway, they had some just beautiful colors. Actually, you know what? It looks so beautiful. I want to show it to you. But I just can't find a good picture. Okay, maybe later I'll find one. Abbott and Costello, but yeah, it was a great bit. It does. I probably watch that a couple of times a year because I just think it's fun. Let's see. Art says, Temu mechanical key switches have names like lime, lemon. Yeah, and they're named that way. The tablets are fine. The naming sucks. And yes, the naming is awful. The naming is terrible. Let's see. I really wish it was standard to use actual real full model name, at least in listings. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Art says most colors are coming in white. What's it? White, black, and red. People just don't buy this other. It's true. It's true. Most popular color for car in the United States, I believe, is white. Okay, Nick had a question I want to get to because he's been waiting for a while. So, Nick, I hope you're still with us. And the question was twofold. Number one, what ARMs are available? Okay, so I actually do have a topic there. Let's take a look at my website there. So, the first core thing is whether your tablet, your pen display, is VESA mountable, right? Oh, Mir sent the picture. Thank you, Mir. Let's get a quick look before we address the next comment. 1 second. Where is my live stream chat? Yeah, thank you so much, Mir. Look at this. Look at that. This is what I want to see. You know which one I want? Mango yellow, baby. Mango yellow and lavender purple looks so good to me. I think there's a red one too that they just introduced. But look at this, right? Don't get me wrong, I like my white one. The black one was okay. I just get tired of all these accessories in black. But this is good stuff. This is good stuff, right? If you're creative, wouldn't you want a little more a pop of color in your environment? Must everything be black and gray? Right? Thank you, Mir. Thank you. Okay, so if you don't have VESA, you've got these kind of things, right? And then I have a link in this page. I'm gonna send a link to this page, by the way, into the chat so that people can see. Paste. Let's move this out of the way. Okay. There's some of these things that are designed, so the Wacom FlexArm is very specific to a couple of Cintiq models or Cintiq Pro models, right? And then these are a couple of things which the next set that are listed here have worked pretty well, right? Though some are just, I think, better values than others. So Huion released this ST500 desktop arm, which someone did a really nice review of on Reddit. I mean, it's a pretty long review, actually. I think they were just thinking this was fine, but not great for the value. Not a great value, okay? But one to check out. Now, North Bayou makes some pretty good arms. I have not used these, okay? But there's a couple of, you can find lots of people using them on Reddit. Ergotron is the one that I've used the most, okay? Now, there are two that I've used. One is this one, the Ergotron LX. I'll just turn on the video for a second so you can see it in action. So this is the part that's mounted to the desk. And then you attach the monitor there. And I've used this with the pen display. I use this with a 22-inch Huion Canvas 22 Plus. Worked perfect there. One thing that was nice about it is that I could get it to touch the desk. And the reason that's important is all monitor arms wobble. And if it touches the desk, you can reduce the wobble, okay? And Koyo says, Koyo's using a North Bayou. Koyo, can you tell in the chat which model number you're using? Just so, I'll look it up later. So I like this one a lot. It's got a pretty long reach as well, which is nice, right? Again, all monitor arms wobble. None of them do not wobble, okay? But this was a nice, it's not a budget one, but Ergotron's an expensive brand, so this was the less expensive version of it. Now, the other one that I had success with was the Ergotron HX, okay? And the HX is, now you may not notice it, but it is a really sturdy, in fact, there are two of them, sorry, I'm pointing. I have 4 displays in front of me. 2 of them have an Ergotron HX. Now, they are sturdier than the LX, but they will wobble as well. One of the negatives of the HX is that I can't get the monitors as close to the desk. So sometimes I put like a towel actually underneath the monitor, the edge on the bottom, so that it's sitting on something, Okay. Uh, okay, and we'll take a, thank you, Koyo. I see your link. I'll take a look at it in a second. But I like this a lot. It's not quite as flexible in terms of height and reach as the LX, and I think this is rather expensive, but it is sturdy. Again, I don't want to overpromise. It will wobble a little bit, but if you're not drawing too heavily, you might not even notice that. A couple of comments here. The dream would be a locking mechanism to have it 100% stable when drawing. I think there's just no way to do that, Arch. Because I feel like okay, I'm just guessing here. You know more about this kind of physical stuff than I do. Just the entire mechanical thing of it being stretched out seems like and with all these joints, seems like it's a losing battle. Like, what could possibly keep it that stable, right? I'd be curious. Let's see, Penguin Sushi says, the only stable monitor stand is a nail in your desk. And then Art says, word of warning for light tablets on monitor arms. Adjusting pitch is going to be really hard. I've riffed it off the dual lock. Interesting. And Rain-Soaked Puppy says, have personal experience with North Bio and Huanyo. Both have been pretty good. Oh, I haven't heard of that brand, Rain-Soaked Puppy. Thank you. I will check that out. Let me just take a note. Huanyo. Let me write that down, actually, as my follow-ups. Check out Huanyo. This is for a monitor arm. Thank you. And my chat disappeared. Let's see. Koyo says, Ergotron is rebranding Chinese OEM. Okay, let me make sure I understand your comment, Koyo. You're saying that the Ergotron brand is just rebranding somebody else's monitor arm. Is that correct? Could you clarify that? And if that is the case, who would you recommend? I think you're using North Bio, if I remember. Art says, I think you could probably design a friction spring which preloads from a lever or something. Interesting. I just don't know enough about mechanical stuff to totally understand that. Penguin Sushi says, sometimes screws come with spring clips which eliminate wobble on screw. Interesting. I just don't know these things. Let's see. Okay, this is another stand that I have used. This is actually attached to my Wacom Cintiq Pro 22. So I actually have notes on this. This is the Vivo VESA monitor, touch screen desk stand. So I'll just go over this dock here. I took some photos as well. Pretty easy to assemble. This is its setup. Now, it doesn't have a super big vertical ability. And of course, it's not mounted to the desk, it's a stand. But I will tell you this: if you can see in these photos that you can get it decently close to the, and you can sit on the desk, and these are the different angles that you can use it with, right? So this was good for drawing on. Now, this is heavy, so if you're thinking about, this is a 22-inch Cintiq Pro, which is heavy in itself. On top of it, this thing is heavy and will not easily move off. It's like the rubber feet keep it on the desk. So with some stands, you could slide this away with your one hand. That's not happening. You're going to have to take both hands and really push or lift it up a bit to move it, right? But it's sturdy. I do like this one a lot. Now, I get the feeling this is also rebranded from some other manufacturer, but it does work very well. Let's see, let's go back. So this one I like. This one I like a lot. And I use it. I do use it. Let's see. Oops, sorry. I skipped back too much. What other ones did I carry? XP Pen made this one. I think Theo liked this one, but he did a nice review of this ACS 15. I like the fact that it has this big handle to make it easy to bring down. I get the feeling this thing just kind of tilts. It doesn't have as I didn't get the sense I'd have as much control over the angle as with the Vivo, but this was one that I think the only issue he had was the installation. There was something about how to attach it to the monitor arm. I'll talk about wobble here. Have always had wobble, and I link in this doc to some other stands. So hopefully that helped Nick. And is Nick still with us? And let me cover his other topic before we take anything else, which was using a pen display as a monitor. Pen display as monitor. Okay, so I get so many questions on Reddit about people, they have a pen display and they know they're not always going to draw on it, so they want to use it like a monitor. Or sometimes they want to replace their existing monitor because they're going to be just, watching YouTube or something and then only occasionally draw, right? So that's what this document is put together for, because they have some very basic questions and some very advanced questions as well. And Satyaki says, thanks for the force proportions thing. I'm eagerly, as soon as it comes out, I'll get it and I'll write things down and do a stream. So the first question I get about using a pen display as a monitor is safety. Like, some people wonder if it's allowed to do, like, will it hurt the computer or the pen display? My answer is, there's nothing wrong with it. It's legitimately safe, right? And then the other question that comes up is leaving them on continuously. Now, I think I need to update this document. So I think what I should be saying here more clearly is this. Most pen displays use LCD panels, and two of them, literally right now, just two of them use OLED panels. We know that OLEDs seem to not break down, what's the right word here? The quality of the image degrades over time. It used to be worse, it's much better now. LCDs also degrade, but I think at a much slower pace than OLEDs. Now I told people I leave my displays on 24/7. They looked at me like I was crazy, or I guess they didn't look at me since we were all online. But they said, hey, you should maybe not do that because it does degrade them. I guess I'm not too worried about it. I just leave my pen displays on all the time, right? And these are, this is a little bit of an older list, but I've used all of these as pen displays. Like, literally for months at a time, just left them as a display, didn't touch them for drawing at all. All of these I've listed, and more since I wrote this document, right? Now, one thing you should be aware of with a pen display is getting high refresh rates is incredibly rare. I can think of 1, 2, 3, 4, right now, I can think of 4 pen displays, and 3 of them are Wacom, that have a refresh rate that can go higher than 60 hertz. So if high refresh rates are your thing, pen displays are not going to be what you need, okay? Display inputs and cabling. This is an interesting one. So monitors often have lots of input ports, like they have HDMI, DisplayPort, USB-C, but pen displays tend not to have that. They tend to either have just a USB-C port, or maybe an HDMI port, or maybe both ports. Cintiq Pros tend to have multiple, but you should be aware that there are just usually fewer options for a pen display, fewer port options. Aspect ratio, monitors can be all sorts of aspect ratios, ultra wide, etc. Really, with pen displays, you're limited to 16:9, and literally just a handful are 16 by 10, right? You don't get a wide assortment of aspect ratios. I talked about display panel technology, but just to reiterate, the vast majority are IPS, a few OLEDs. You'll see a couple of like, I think, these other types, that I think don't have as good video image quality. Brightness is another interesting thing. You'll see a lot of displays that are like monitors that are really bright, but really most pen displays are like 250 nits, right? Wacom has some that go to 300, 350, but they tend not to get bright, and I think the reason that makes sense actually, because almost by definition, to use a pen display, you're using it with your hands right in front of you, so you use them an arm's length away at most. And so they don't need to be as bright. Now, of course, if you want to use them as a monitor and they're much further away from you, then you'd want them brighter. So that's something you should keep into account. Let's see. Rainsoak Puppy says, I can confirm that OLED monitors experience burn-in. I have an LG Ultra Gear 27. Static UI elements on the screen will become imprinted. It's been reversible. Interesting. So what do? You just don't use it for a while, Rainsoak Puppy, or do you run some sort of special process to reverse it? Or does it just solve itself on its own? Let's see, Arch says, at 120 hertz would be a genuine selling point for me because it would be not as disorienting coming from a high... Yeah, I think if you had a mix, that would be an issue for some people. Or if you had to transition. I'm one of those people, maybe because of my age. I think I told the story again. I'll just tell it again. I was watching movies. I had a special sort of laptop dedicated for movies, and a special monitor, like a TV actually, dedicated for movies. And I had set that up and left it alone for like a year. And then I was just fooling around with it one day and realized I had been watching movies the monitor, the TV was set to 30 hertz for a year, and I hadn't noticed. I was even drawing on that thing, like with Clip Studio Paint. I did not notice. So, I switched it to 60 hertz, but I'm not as sensitive to high refresh rates as a lot of people. I'm totally fine with 60 hertz. I don't need more than that. Pixel cleaning, Rainsoak Puppy says, and rearranging UI elements. Got it. So part of it's I think a process of the monitor itself, and part is you're manually doing something. Arch is a 200 hertz monitor user. Damn. And you don't find that fast, Arch. Wow. You see, maybe now I'm scared to try one of these kind of monitors because then I'd be unhappy with my 60 hertz. Let's see, these are some of the techniques Rainsoak Puppy uses to avoid that burn-in. Looks like a lot of you really like 120 hertz. That surprises me. I guess it shouldn't surprise me. Kayo says he doesn't mind 60 hertz, but 120 hertz is more pleasant to the eyes. Yeah, OLED is great. But Art says it has so many problems currently. It's just a hassle. I've been happy with my Move Ink. I just don't use it that often because I'm paranoid about burn-in, to be quite honest. Right? Okay, VESA mounting. Lots of pen displays. Lots of monitors. Almost all of them are VESA mountable. But the situation is reversed with pen displays. Not all are VESA mountable, especially at 16 inches and below. They tend not to be. So you have to be aware of that, right? Power cabling. Monitors tend to get power from just a separate power cable, but modern pen displays can do a power cable, or they can get power from a USB-C port. Anti-glare sparkle. This is an interesting one. Monitors don't seem to have any anti-glare sparkle at all. But pen displays, even if they have a matte screen, they tend not to have it. But pen displays can have a lot of anti-glare sparkle, or a little. So you have to check that very carefully before you use a pen display as a monitor. Some people are very sensitive to anti-glare sparkle. Let's see, Tablet Kitten is stuck with a 60 hertz monitor. Man, it makes me realize I shouldn't look at a higher refresh rate monitor. I'd get upset with what I have maybe. Speakers, yeah. Pen displays rarely have speakers. Sometimes they have a headphone jack, but I don't know of any that have speakers. In any case, some monitors and TVs do. Obviously, they don't sound good, but if that's important for you, be aware. Another feature that pen displays just don't have is picture by picture, picture in picture. I don't blame them for not having this, but if you use your monitor like that, then pen display may not suit your needs. Heat, I haven't noticed any heat problems with pen displays, honestly. They seem to get about as hot as you'd expect a monitor to get. Noise, none of them have fans except for certain Cintiq Pro models, right? So anyway, this is my list of, again, answering Nick's question. I think he dropped off the stream, but if you're trying to use a pen display as a monitor, these are some of the considerations you should take into account. Kayo says, it's not that easy to get burned in. It's actually easier to get burned in with CRT than with new OLED tech. What? Is it? I mean, I believe you, but I guess I never thought about that. I have seen many CRTs that are burned in, but it's been so long since I used them, I guess I hadn't had any experience with them for a while. Art says frame pacing is really important though. I can't stand a lot of PC games at 60 hertz due to small pacing issues. But console, old games with rock steady pacing are more bearable. Pacing is, I think you mean consistency in the refresh rate. Yeah, I think that's what you mean. 4K, okay, Mihao. Good to see you, Mihao. 4K, 160 hertz is like living in the future, albeit an expensive one. Good to see you. Hello, Mihao. Hello. Okay, I think we actually got through at least all the questions people asked so far, so we can do more. Whew, that was a lot. Okay, so while I'm waiting for more questions, I'm actually just going to go onto Reddit and take care of some questions. This is supposed to be a working stream after all, where I take care of things. You can see, and we can see what questions people actually ask. The kind of things I try to answer Reddit questions every day, since I'm the mod of so many servers. By the way, if anyone wants to be a mod of these subreddits, just let me know. Right now, I'm really the only mod. I'm one of several mods on Wacom, but I am the only mod for our drawing tablet, our Huion, our XP Pen, and did I miss one? Drawing tablet, Huion, and XP. Yeah. TabTech is an older subreddit someone started a couple of years ago, and they asked me to be a mod, so I'm a mod there, but it's defunct. Basically, the guy was really very active, but I think other priorities took over in life, so it's not been active for a couple of years. Stylus is decently active, but more focused on just general devices that use styluses. I am a mod there, but I don't often do anything. I just check the queue, what do you call it? The queue, right? To see if anything needs to be approved or removed or something like that. But they have multiple mods. So again, if you want to be a mod in our drawing tablet or Huion or XP Pen, let me know. I'm more than happy to get some help. Actually, while I'm on this topic, I've been thinking about merging drawing tablet and XP Pen and Huion into one subreddit, our drawing tablet, because look, our drawing tablet has 5,000 members. It's not the biggest. Wacom's the biggest, but take a look at this. Huion has 22K members, so about 4 times as much. And XP Pen has 14K members, so 3 times as much. I want to merge them all. I can't merge everything to Huion because that would be weird for the XP Pen users. But I'd like to get everyone together because what I notice is, number one, most questions people have are generic, like something, the driver is giving an error message. And there's nothing really fundamental about Huion or XP Pen. They're just having a generic problem. And number two is people are posting in all three in the hopes of getting an answer. So I'm thinking about just merging them. But I'm curious if anyone has an opinion on that. And again, I would merge into our drawing tablet. So I have to think about it. I think it's better to have one place than multiple. Now, obviously, I can't merge our Wacom because, well, number one, I'm not the main mod for Wacom. And I wouldn't want to suggest that because it's got its own history. I'm just one of the mods there. But for the rest, it might simplify people's lives, honestly. But yeah, if anyone has any opinion, let me know. Okay, let's see. Take some new comments here. Pacing means how consistent the frame times are, so an absolutely constant FPS is better than feeling... Yes, I understand. Got it. Koyo says, we're so used to LCD today, we've forgotten how miserable CRT was. OLED's meant to replace CRT for the color quality, not really replacing. Oh, that's a good point. I gotta tell you, it's obviously I grew up in the era of CRTs. My first monitor, by the way, for a computer, didn't even have color. It was an amber monitor, so it was black with amber light, right? And that was normal. I didn't get a color display for quite a while. But it's just weird. The first time I saw an LCD was the year 2000 in Microsoft Building 18. And I was like, wow, I can't. And it was probably, I swear that monitor was like, I don't know, I want to say it was like 15 inches. So by today's standards, tiny. But I was so jealous to see it. And then, in a few years, everyone got LCDs. And we just kind of, as a group, just completely forgot about the horrors of CRTs. Tablet Kitten says, I really only have a CRT for the sake of nostalgia since my grandparents had one back in the day. I kind of like the retro look of a CRT, but I want the best of both worlds. If they could just make it flat, which I guess is impossible, that'd be really interesting. Because LCD displays can look a little more sharp than intended, because you know what I'm saying? Especially at the lower resolutions, the pixels going to look kind of weird sharp. You see that in some games where they compensate by having a kind of CRT filter, which softens and adds scan lines, which is an interesting aesthetic, by the way. Okay, while I'm waiting for comments, I'm going to take a look at some of these questions. It's a throwaway account. I bought myself a Cintiq 16, in love with it, coming from a Tab S7 FE. Yeah, that'd be a big difference. Stylus is killing me. Interesting. It's massive, flipping it around for easier. Propin. Discontinued. Okay. So he wants to know what alternatives are there. Okay, so there's two answers to this. Okay. I'm glad we're actually doing this live, because the first is Wacom pen compatibility. So I have a page which is built up of research and Tablet Expert Cube's information. And so I can just say, here's what's compatible, right? So first, here what is compatible. And with your tablet. With your tablet. And then I can say when to switch nibs. I actually talked about this, which is nib where. So yeah, so I just have these diagrams about this, and just to show you, I think you don't want to change nibs here. It's too late. This is about to be too late. This is basically your last real opportunity to change your nib, right? Now, here's the picture. This is it. Almost the last chance. This is too much. So, as for your question, about nib replacement. Let's see. Lots of people play fast games emulated on modern systems on emulators which add a few frames of input lag. LCDs which add a few frames of input lag, and it's just not the same as it was. See, I haven't played anything on original CRTs, like a Street Fighter game in so long, I can't even remember what it was like. When they had half a frame, 1 frame delay on hardware. 0 frame, and 1 frame delay on hardware, and basically 0 frame monitor delay. CRTs had 0 frame monitor delay, is that correct, Arch? So I entered this question. This person got a Intuos Pro Medium, but notice this person got an older, you can just tell by the buttons. I forgot which one this is. This is maybe a PTH or a what do you call it? X51, I think. And so whenever someone gets an older tablet, I just tell them, I point them to some docs and I say, here's some things to be aware of with using an older tablet. We covered some of this in the stream. And make sure to turn on force proportions, right? It's always a little danger to get an older tablet. I mean, for someone who doesn't know, right? And they don't know. They might think they got a super good deal on a very new tablet, and I just want to make sure they don't. My Mihao says, didn't want to break their habit. Yes, they were so happy, right? And they should be. It's an amazing tablet. And in fact, I tried to say that in my comment. I said, it's a fantastic tablet, right? And I just say, because it's an older one, take a look at this. Because you're right, I didn't want to ruin their happiness, because it is a good tablet. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Let's see what this person says. They need some help. This is a tough one. Their colors are changing because they're pressing on the cord. It's bad when they're not providing pressure, but it's good when they do. What do you do when there's a port that's loose? I think the only thing you can do is contact support, honestly. But if anyone thinks there's a better suggestion, let me know. I'm just going to tell them to contact support. I don't think there's any easy fix for this. For the port being loose this way. I suggest though. Oh, I see your suggestion, Meow. No. Yeah, exactly. Try different. Try with a different cable. Or try with a different way of connecting. Instead of, I'll just leave it more generic like that. Try contacting customer support. Yeah, I like that final suggestion. If out of warranty, find if someone local can okay, so this is where I'm not a hardware guy, and so I don't know the lingo here. The first question I have is, who do you go to do these kinds of repairs? Right? Like, if your body needs repairs, you go to a doctor. But for monitors with ports and things like this, who do you look up? Like, is there a profession that does this? Is there, you know what I'm saying? Like, how would you find someone? I mean, the only thing I would do, I'd call up a friend who knows how to solder, and I'd say, can you help me? But I just don't know what the name of the professional who does something like this is, or where they would be. Would they be in a certain kind of store? This, right? You can find a third-party repairer. Let me say it like that then. Let me edit this text to resolder, repair, or yeah, a lot of people don't know what solder means either. Repair, resolder the port. Yeah, a general piece. I've left out a word here. A local person who does, let me just say, electronic repairs, and they can repair, resolder the port. What I do when I answer a question is I actually click save, and then later on, I will try, oh, that's a good, I love that, meow. Look for people who maybe can repair TVs or motherboards, etc. Or monitors, etc. At least, I'll put some, I like this. This is getting to be a good answer. They can point you in the right direction to find someone. It's okay. So what I was saying was, when I answer a question, I click save on Reddit, and then periodically I go look my saved, and I forget. I don't know if the rest of the world has this concept, but in Microsoft we have this thing called repair items. So when you have a problem, like, I don't know, software broke, Surface went down, you solve the problem, and you write down a list of repair items. This means the things you need to do so that this problem doesn't happen again, right? So I have that same philosophy when I answer questions. I write the question, and if it's a question I think is going to be popular, or I've seen come up before and I have a decent answer, I will save the answer, and then I'll come back and I'll add a doc to it, like an FAQ doc, right? And that's why I have written like 400 pages of docs, because I've covered all these scenarios. And every day I will update my docs. I probably update 10 pages a day. Like tweak, it could be a misspelling, it could be just add one more line to help, right? Let's see, Rain Soaked Puppy says, I guess you would have to call Louis Rossmann. So he talked about repairability. I didn't realize he actually Did he used to make repair videos? Because he's new to me. Though I realize he's famous. Let's see. So this is a good, thanks for your helping me out. This is a very common question. So I will definitely save that. I'll skip this one. Oh, this is a good one. Problem in pen pressure. Is the problem on the pen or the tablet? Is there no pressure? Let's take a look what happened here. I actually have a doc on this, so I'll just link to that. Let's see. No pressure. TSG means troubleshooting guide, right? So I have a bunch of things here, and I'm gonna just paste that in there. 3 days ago, but might as well answer. Let's see. Art says, it's probably not a bad idea to learn basic soldering yourself. Maybe don't practice on Cintiq though. It's pretty universally handy and not super hard to do stuff like this. Okay, maybe that'll be my a little hobby thing I take up, or some practical skill to learn. The most practical skill I learned in the last couple of years, cooking for myself. That's paid off like many times. Okay, now, see, this is an example of a question title, which is awful. I need help. I know, some people get really frustrated, but like, this is so demotivating for someone who's trying to answer questions, because like, you have to read this. And whenever something's like several days old and there's 0 answers, I take a look. 10 button, okay, I have a UG S640. But I use Kilanotes, my Android device. None of these buttons translate to anything. Unfortunately, yeah. Okay, so this is a weakness of Android, so I'm going to save this because this is a tough question. Unfortunately, this is limitation of Android. It does not have any built-in support for configuring buttons on tablet. I try to give some hope here. I hope in the future Android will pick up some of the features, tablet features in Chrome OS, which does allow a user to configure buttons. And yeah, I'll have to save this answer and update add this as a repair item. Arch. So many silly hardware failures are because some soldered part failed. A really common one is internal USB wires in older tech. Hey, I've seen that. So many people have, even though they can't fix it, they open up their tablet and it's clearly obvious the USB-C port is loose. So I feel like soldering would help there, right? And to me, maybe it does not help with lots of other problems, but I feel like ports are a weak link in tablets that break a lot. So I think it'd help there, right? Because it seems like it's just a physical thing, not something that requires electronic knowledge. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'm hardly the expert on this topic. This person has tablet suggestions. Did I answer this one? I didn't answer this. So what do they want? They want pen tablet, non-display. Yeah, easy recommendations for this one. Medium pen tablet. I always recommend medium size for people. This is a couple of days old, but sometimes I answer older questions a couple of days, not because they still need help, they may not. I do that because I'm trying to socialize. I write down 400 pages of docs. I'm trying to socialize the answer so that more people will be like, oh, the answer's already written down. On this topic, some people ask me why I don't write the answer in the question or on Reddit. Why do I link to my site? And actually, a couple of people have gotten, I think, a bit irate with me. They've said, they've accused me of trying to lead people away from Reddit to my own site where I must be making millions of dollars on affiliate links. I don't have any affiliate links, and I don't make any money on this stuff. And I totally understand the concern. So maybe it's a good time for me to explain why I just provide a link to my doc. I cannot trust that Reddit as a service will be available forever. And I can't even trust that a future mod or the admins won't delete my account or do something that would mess things up, okay? And number two, answers change over time. And I learn things every month or year, and I update my answers. If I answered every question fully in the comments, and then one day I discovered I've been giving the wrong answer, or now I have a better answer, it would be a monumental effort for me to update thousands of questions. So rather, I just link to my site, and I keep the site up to date. And that's why I do it, right? And just so people know, this is a little bit of a brag, okay? Take a look at the 7pens profile here. Hang on, where is it? It said there's some information here, which tells me I forgot where it is. Maybe is it here? Anyway, I'm in the top 1% of answerers or commenters on Reddit. Should I be proud of that? I don't know. Right? I don't know. And look at this. I have a 409-day streak of answering on Reddit. That's a lot. And really, I am 99.9% of what I do on Reddit is answering these questions on these tablet subreddits. The only other thing I do is maybe I'll be on our digital painting saying, hey, someone will post artwork and go, hey, that's really nice. But the vast majority is me answering these questions. So again, if anyone wants to be a mod of one of these subreddits, let me know. Let's see. Let's go back to our drawing tablet. I answered this. Looking to replace my Huion Canvas 13 Pro. Oh, let's see. Colors are displayed, weirdly yellow at times, overall desaturated. No matter how many times I try to fix it to the driver, it doesn't work out. Okay, I don't know color stuff. I see Tio has answered this. Arch has a good comment. I had enough of Reddit after a few times of answering questions about a product I made and being told I'm wrong about your own product because I didn't realize it was answering. I can believe it, Arch. This is one reason I quit using Stack Overflow. I used to answer a ton of questions on Stack Overflow about a certain product. Okay, and I don't want to get into which product for a second. It wasn't something I worked on. I myself just used it. And what I found is this. So what you need to understand is this product lets you draw things, but the product also has a language built in. Like actually, you can code in the product, right? You can actually write code, real code, not like trivial code, like real, full, complex stuff. And people would ask how to accomplish something, and they'd actually literally be talking about the code, right? And it would get closed by Stack Overflow mods or admins or something, because they were like, "Oh, this is about using the product and not coding." I'm like, they don't know enough to do that. Like, they were just without any knowledge of this application, what was going on. They were just guessing and closing these questions, and they would close some really valuable ones. It's like because they didn't know, they didn't have any context. So very frustrating for people. So I just quit. At one point, I just felt, why should I contribute to this? And of course, now with AI, I guess Stack Overflow is having some problems. But I don't know enough about color here, so Tio has replied, so that's good. This is me, Clip Studio Paint Summer Sale. Still going on for one more day, so if people want Clip Studio Paint, now is the time to do it. Let's see, Art says it's a pretty real problem that extremely high-level advice is often indistinguishable from extremely low-level advice. It's true. And again, I can't completely blame the mods of Stack Overflow, but I did feel like they weren't giving enough benefit of the doubt to a lot of people, right? Like they were just eager to close questions for some reason. Let's see this one. Someone says they need a tablet that allows me to sit up straight and look at it because they can't bend. Yeah, I think it's a good answer. I'll just give him an upvote. I upvote everybody. Yeah, they're very arrogant, Arch. And the thing is, they don't know. Sometimes the closing question, they don't have any context about. Like they think they know, but they're not experts in the topic. And because they're not experts, they misinterpret what is being asked, right? And, they're just unfriendly. And when it starts becoming so unfriendly, you don't want to hang out there. You don't want to contribute value. And by the way, don't get me wrong. I think Reddit's going to go down that path eventually. And I love Reddit. But I don't know how it will survive longer term. Maybe AI is part of the reason, right? There's lots of cases of Stack Overflow mods not understanding the exact question. Yeah, but they think they do, and they clearly do not. Anyways, going into Reddit, look, Reddit will have its lifetime too, and people will eventually abandon it. So what is next? I don't know. I will say that, I know this isn't a proper Reddit replacement, but let me try to say this. I started the Discord just over a year ago. The Drawing Tablet Discord. I didn't intend to spend any time there. I just did it because I thought it seemed like a good idea. Someone suggested it, and I thought, okay, I'll pop in there and, once every day, and, probably no one will come there. Turns out the Discord is really popular. From my perception, it's popular, and I'm there all the time. Now, is Discord the right place to have these kinds of quick Q&As? I don't think so. It's not the best place. But it's an example of where the center of gravity might be shifting, right? So maybe that's where the future's going to be. Let's see, Rainsoak Puppy says, I've been debating on upgrading my copy of Clips Paint EX from 2 to 4, but I looked at the features it would be gaining. And I guess, yeah, keep on the old one as long as you don't need the new one. There's no point in upgrading if you don't get value out of it. And that's a signal for them they should add more value, right? Let's see, Mihao says, we need to watch out in the Drawing Tablet Discord not to get bored by the same questions. Yes. Yes, and that's one thing I think about, because we do have people asking sometimes the same question. Maybe, I really wish there was an AI bot that recycled, so to speak, some of our answers already, so we don't have to deal with the same old stuff, right? Because 90% of the stuff you see in any forum is the same stuff as before, right? Let's see, Art says, Reddit's big problem is the democratic system where more popular opinions get upvotes and get encouraged more. Truth nukes. Truth nukes? Truth nukes. I think you're saying something. I'm not sure how to interpret the word nuke here. Truth nukes get downvoted even if completely correct and expert advice. Mihao, you think Reddit people will move to Discord? I feel like they will, honestly, because, again, Discord is not the perfect tool. I mean, I love using it. I don't know if it would scale to Reddit, right? But then Discord wasn't really about gaming. So the fact that people are using it like we're using the Drawing Tablet Discord is quite interesting. It's a good idea to have easily linked resources which has comprehensive solutions to all the common problems. Yeah, I agree. Whenever there's a problem at work, I always tell people, write down what you learned, or so no one has to relearn this. Like, it'll save everyone time, right? Truth nuke is a bit of a meme, but it's mostly just means some profound reflection. Got it. I'm glad, by the way, so we're looking at this question. I'm really glad that Tio, Parka is Tio. Okay, Tio on tech. I'm so happy he's relatively busy answering questions in these Drawing Tablet subreddits, and that's great because he is like, the best reviewer out there, right? Truth nukes look like nonsense sometimes, even if they're actually the correct answer. Yeah, I can see that. Let's see, someone asked about Moving 13, Huion Canvas 16 Gen 3, and Wacom Cintiq. I might have answered this already. I did. Okay, so I'll just skip past this one. Let's go ahead and like this art. Do Bosto graphics tablets work on Linux? Let's see what people said. Oh, this is Tablet Kitten. It should work just with Digiman. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd write. Avoid Bosto. For any Bosto people in the audience, I apologize, but it should be avoided. This one's been answered. Okay. Meg, the PKMN, I don't know what that means. His gateway is a drawing tablet. Well, let's just take a look. Probably won't do a good job. Let's create a new window here. I don't. Okay, I'm going to say I don't think it would. I don't think this would work well. I don't think this would work well. Would work well. It is underpowered. And it is not even clear it works with a pen. Here are some alternatives. Standalone drawing tablet. Okay. Arch says, I answered a specific question about how one parameter works in a simulator, literally hundreds of times, often taking quite some time, and after I included it in the document, 0 questions about it. So take an hour to write the doc, probably saved 100 hours. Yeah, it can be very effective. The only, sometimes though, I have discovered people don't want to read. And so sometimes people have struggled with something on the Reddit, and I'll say, here's a doc that goes through every possible thing to fix the problem that you can do. Like I'll give them the link, let's just say at 5 p.m., right? 5:05, and the doc is long. It would take you 30 minutes to read. 5:05, or a minute later, I'll get a response saying, oh, I read that. Couldn't find, like, did you really read an effective 20-page doc in 1 minute and go through all the troubleshooting steps? I don't think so. So some people are, they just want the solution. I'm like, you got to read, right? And it's hard to convince them of that because sometimes there's a lot of background information you need. So a great example is when someone has the no signal problem. They just want to fix it, but like you need to understand how the problem comes about, and then you can figure out how to fix it, right? People not wanting to read is their problem, not yours. I know, Arch, but the reality is, somehow they've got to, I got to find out a way to get the problem solved. I mean, I understand I'm not under any obligation, but I'm just trying to be creative. So I think I should make maybe a better videos. So for example, I think I over-explain things in my videos. I'm gonna try to make videos, at least a variant of some videos, which are maybe get to the point faster. Like I did all these videos about pressure, and they're like very theoretical and in a kind of sense mathematical in a way. And like, I think I can probably explain that in a better, more straightforward way for non-techie people. That might help a lot of people. No signal. Okay, so I don't know if this person found their solution, but just in case, I have troubleshooting guides for no signal. Need to do a video on this as well. Just in case you didn't find a solution. See this. And this is the very doc I mentioned, which people would like in 1 minute say, oh, they tried everything. How could you? There's no way you can try everything in this doc, right? Like just the background takes 20 minutes to watch, right? And there's like so many things to test, right? And they're like, oh, yep, I checked all 50 things in 1 minute. I doubt that, sir. Doubt that very much. See, Rain-Soaked Puppy says, it's getting harder to convince people not to just cram documents through an AI interpreter and have it paraphrase it. Yeah, like I don't even know what AI is going to do. Like, I've looked at how AI answers tablet questions. It's awful. It gets the facts wrong. It makes up, I mean, this isn't new stuff, but people get the wrong idea about problems with AI. And don't get me wrong, the weird part is half the answer is correct. The other half is like, huh? What? So I got this. Let's see. There's one question that comes up all the time in drawing tablet subreddits, which is pressure not working in Photoshop. I'm gonna have to come back to these. They're so complicated. Okay, looks like I answered a good bunch of them. Let's go to R. Wacom. There was a study published a while ago about brain-only research engine and LLM users in writing essays. And the LLM users had basically no frontal lobe activation. No way. This can't be true. No, I can't believe it. I mean, I believe you, Arch. It seems so incongruous. Hey, it's one of our newest Discord users. Like, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I'm going to try. Ban Boikmus? That sounds Greek almost. I'm curious. Tell me if I mispronounced it or if there's a meaning. I'd love to know. Literacy and numeracy plummets after just a few months of LLM use. I could believe that. I could believe that. And of course, judge studies with a pint of salt. Yes. Let's check our Wacom. See what we got going on here. And Ban Boikmus, if I'm mispronouncing it, please let me know how you want me to say it. If you want to talk about any topic, just let me know. All I'm doing right now is going through questions on Reddit, just taking care of questions people have and answering it. So this is for whatever people want to talk about. Oh, let's see. Ooh, OneNote. Let's see. Feel free to think of a way. I just do it intentionally. So, sorry, you can't see the comment. Feel free to think of a way. I just do it intentionally so I can have fun. Okay, so Ben Boikmus ended up having so many nicknames over the years. Well, it's an interesting one. You know, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. Why I said it was Greek. Hang on a second. I think I'm spelling this correct. Yeah. There's a word. Notice this is from Bible Hub. Don't ask me how I know. But there's these two guys in the Bible. I forgot who actually, but they're given a name, an epithet, which is Boanerges, which means something like sons of thunder or something like that. And so that kind of, I don't know, something about it reminded me of Ban Boikmus. Ban Boikmus. Rainsoak Puppy says, maybe Boikmus is like Christmas. Okay, that's an interesting one, Boikmus. And they want to ban Boikmus. They are Boikmus Scrooge. Okay, that's a good interpretation. Let's see. I'm going to find out what this means. Mark 3:17. Sorry for the religious exploration here. I'm really curious. Compare Bible verse translations. James, the son of Zebedee, and John, the brother of James, to whom he gave the name Boanerges, that is, sons of thunder. Sons of thunder. Interesting. Ben Boikmus is Vietnamese. I think we have a number of Vietnamese in our in our Discord, actually. Actually, that's something that's always surprised me about our Discord is there are people from everywhere in it. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm surprised. Is what I mean to say. Ouch. Oh, sorry. I banged my elbow against something. Okay, this person says. So I'm just curious. I mean, I know not many of you are online right now, but should I more regularly do a kind of office hours like this where I'm just going through Reddit, answering questions? To me, again, I try to do this anyway, meaning answer these questions. But having people pop in and chat, and sometimes they help out with the question, or just make it more interesting for me to do it, it's kind of very energizing. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a regular stream where I go and do this, right? And I'll do my other streams as well, which are topic focused. Let's see, using Microsoft OneNote with Sequoia on my Wacom Moving. Love the device. Hard to say. Hard to say. I'm just going to say, have you asked in the OneNote subreddit? Some people forget there are other subreddits. Mir, you didn't miss much. I just started going through the questions people are asking on Reddit and answering them, and people have been helping me out. So we're just having a chill, fun time. Okay? And actually, speaking of chill, I need some cold water, so I'll be right back. 1 second. Okay, I am back. Thank you for your patience. Got another 30 fluid ounces of water. Let's take a look. Art says Americans finding out there's whole other continents out there with billions of people. Hey, I know there are billions of people out there. I'm just, well, actually, let me just give you some background. You have to remember when I was there for the beginning of the internet, okay? And first, the only people on the internet were people in college, American colleges, right? And every now and then you'd interact with someone online, like in Germany or something. That was rare. And then most people that you'd still interact with were in the United States, right? And because lots of the world didn't have a lot of connectivity, they didn't have internet access. Now, of course, it's much different world, right? But I remember that transition when you'd start hearing, a British accent on the internet, and like, what? It's like, wait a second, they have internet in England? Why are there so many online YouTubers from England? And that just has skyrocketed, right? So still a period of adjustment, even for me. And I worked with a lot of people internationally, but like, it stuns me that the drawing tablet Discord is like just hugely diverse in where people are coming from. Let's see. Ben Boykma says, honestly, it's almost out of office hour in Japan here. Ah, that's right. I forgot you're in Japan. Let's see. Mir, we'll be happy to help you. Are you part of the Discord? I can't remember. If you're not, please join. That always makes it easy to help, okay? But yeah, we always happy to help. Ben Boykmas, what is Yodobashi? Is that a kind of store, or is that a place? Let's see, Ben Boykman says, it's a really big electronics chain store in Tokyo. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Oh, the main store is very big. Okay, interesting. I think someone's already answered this question. Again, I'm looking for people, especially when they haven't had a good answer or they had no answers. For some reason, when I use my Wacom one, it stops working whenever I Photoshop. For whatever reason, the cursor goes off the border. Cursor goes off the border. Could you film? Could you clarify what happens? More. Maybe link to a video. Sometimes a video really helps. Like this, especially when the cursor is moving in funny ways. It's hard to convey in words. And then what? Number one question, any answer will have what is the model number Trust me, when someone says Wacom won, the odds are half the time they're talking about they won by Wacom. And if they're not, there's like 4 different or 5 different Wacom ones it could be. Drawing tablets need to become super mainstream so that we can remove the anime source from a keypad, returns to electronics tablet. Don't know what that means? Let's see. Well, I can tell you I don't have the Elite Plus, but I do know it does not work with Android. That's at least every couple of reviews have mentioned that. Oh, some reviews, some people have said it does? That's interesting. Okay, maybe it does. I had not, the one I had read said it did not. But I'll keep an eye out for it. I would love it if it did. I'd like to try it with an Android device. Especially, Wacom is releasing its Android device sometime later this year. So I love my Turbox. I have to use it when I draw. Oh, I have this old text that says discussing Huion buying advice. I don't know. That was a good suggestion from Koya, but I left this text up the entire time. Actually, you know what? I'll edit the text instead of hiding it. And I'll say something else. I'll say, reviewing question. Tablet subreddits. There we go. Save. They say it works, but only if you've loaded the profile into it with an iPad or something. Interesting. Someone had their order canceled on Wacom. Another guy can do to help them there. Let's see what this one is. No one to enter this one. How do I set it so that it makes my draw space online in Photoshop? I'm trying to make it so that it works on my main monitor and one layer deeper only on my main monitor. Could you share the steps you followed to set it to one monitor? I'm curious what they did. Okay. I think people answered this already. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I've been looking at something and not showing what we've been doing. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Ben Boykmas. Oh gosh, I feel silly. Thank you. Because what's going on here is I have 2 monitors in front of me, like directly in front of me. One is what I'm seeing, the other is what you're seeing. And I was so fixated on Reddit, I didn't realize you just were seeing my face. Sorry. Okay, sorry. It's fixed now. Thanks again for letting me know. You know what I need? Okay, so let me just shift into this other topic, which is AI. I don't mean generative AI. Let's just make sure you all understand I don't mean generative AI. What would be great is if what's the right word? Actually, something is weird about this this thing here. It's not showing the thing correctly. Let me unlock the overlay. There we go. Now it shows correctly. Yeah, okay. What I was going to say, there's plenty of ways AI could help me in my life. And one of those ways is I'd like an AI assistant for my streams, right? Because there's so much to keep track of and do as a single human being. It's hard. Like, there are answers to questions people have, and I can't remember everyone's questions because they go by so fast. I'd love an AI to like sort of speak into my ear and say, hey, this person asked a question 20 minutes ago, you haven't gotten to it yet. I'd like the AI to be able to like bring up videos or content without me having to type all the time. Like, you know, like Joe Rogan, has somebody on his crew called Jamie. He goes, Jamie, bring that up. I need like a Jamie, an AI Jamie. Like, hey, bring this video up. So I don't have to like dig around for it. I do, Koyo. The problem is I was looking underneath that monitor, and so I just wasn't paying it. Didn't notice it was out of sync. That I was looking at my Reddit, but you were just seeing my face. Because I have to change where my eyes are vertically pointing. Seven is logged in. Somewhat a context detection, so it can understand which layout you want to show. Yeah, see, that would actually be useful, right? Like, that would actually be very useful for me, right? And there's all sorts of other things that could be useful for me to do, like, not that I want this Microsoft Recall feature, but, I have my 7pens account, which obviously is just dedicated to drawing tablets, but I have my personal account. And sometimes, I don't really want you to see my doctor's appointment. So like, you kind of wish the AI would be like, hey, I'm not going to show this window because like it has personal information, right? That might be useful for me, right? AI can help me answer questions on Reddit a lot. I don't mean just answer them for me. I'm like, detect patterns like, hey, this month, 20 people have had a very similar problem. This is a document you should write about this topic, and here's a starting point. Like, that would actually be useful for me, right? I'm a big believer that AI is going to help me. Again, I'm not talking about generative AI. That's another topic entirely. Actually, let us briefly talk about that for a second. I mean, I've been wondering lately, like, at what point people would feel uncomfortable about the use of AI. Like, I think we all, seeing as we all draw at some level, or most of us do, we don't like it when AI is being used to like just create images that people would normally be drawing, right? Let's see. Oh, mirrors here. Oh, by the way, I am in Discord. Good. I didn't link any stuff. Referring to the TrueBox color and unique talent box and colors. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're in the Discord. Like, I was wondering to myself, like, would it be an okay use of AI? This VO3 model. Would it be okay for me to, I don't know. Like when I started the stream, I had maybe an animation. Would that be like considered bad? I can think of reasons why that would be considered bad, because it is removing a creative task and replacing it with just this prompt, right? Ben Bookman says, honestly, you can get away with some sort of automation where it detects if you focus on a Chrome window and it's viewing specific subreddit, and show everyone see, that is a good example of how AI could help me, right? And there's lots. Remember, I only have two hands, so like, it is difficult to coordinate. I'd like to be able to just tell my AI assistant to like, hey, let's switch to this view, so that I don't have to like click around. So Mihao says, yeah, Gen AI animation would be bad. Yeah, I would feel kind of, well, I don't have a better word for this, Mihao. Like, it wouldn't be appropriate, even though I don't do animation. You understand? Like, that's not what I talk about. Even using it in that way, especially with the audience I have, would feel kind of wrong, right? But I think we're going to have to get used to it's going to be more prevalent in YouTube channels all the time, because these especially the video models are getting really crazily good. I'm not planning on doing it. It was just a question, by the way, folks. If it sounds like it might be tacky, it probably is. And I think Arch, you said the right word. Seeing AI will be tacky, right? It'll come off as like something that you wouldn't want to be caught using, right? I would rather my videos look primitive, and again, I don't want to say the word ugly, but I guess that's the word I'm going to use. Primitive and kind of ugly rather than tacky. Does that make sense? Let's see, Ben Boykmas, back to Gen AI. Japanese are surprisingly liberal on this topic. Surprising. They have certain restraint on what is not appropriate, but they're already thinking how to integrate AI into their workflow. Interesting. Jarvis, move the second screen. Voidouts, that's exactly the kind of thing that would help me, right? Even between artist and composer, interesting. AI played this game for me, so I don't have to play it or brag about the score. Hey, that's me with Subway Surfers, Koyo. But Subway Surfers, this is probably the fourth stream I've talked about it, is a deviously difficult game. And I feel like it's designed to create feelings of like a good feeling in my brain, but then it's designed to hurt, like emotionally damage me as my character like runs into a subway, like it's hit by a train. It's very difficult for me. Very difficult. Art says a lot of Japanese art is, at the risk of making people angry, very derivative and unoriginal, mostly based on copying. So it's no surprise they see it use. Arch, are you talking about like manga and anime specifically, just to be clear? Hey, primitive, and Rain Soaked Puppy says primitive and ugly are just different words for timeless. Let's see, Amir says, I brought up a topic the other day about an AI VTuber encouraging you when you were drawing an iceberg live stream. Oh! That's kind of interesting, actually. You know what AI tools, I mean, besides managing the stream, another thing I would like is, okay, so let me just be clear. Here's my understanding, right? Maybe I don't have this wrong. For some reason, there's a lot of hesitation for people to show their face on YouTube. I don't fully understand. I do understand why at some level. I don't fully understand why. And some people, you know, I guess they're VTubers, and some people just don't have their face at all in their videos. I don't have my face on lots of my videos because it's a lot of work. But obviously, when I'm streaming, I have my face on there the entire time. Now, let me put my face on there the entire time. So, I wouldn't use AI to hide the way I look or anything or change it. But there are things about how I produce the videos where AI could really help. Well, let me just give you an example. In those videos where when I'm just talking, because I'm talking about something technical, one of my challenges is how long is the video? And the thing that drives the length of the video is how many words are in the script. And I do script out everything in my normal videos. What I'd like to be able to do is have an AI model my voice, play back the audio in my voice, not so I can play it to you, so I can estimate if the video time is going to be long or short, right? That's one thing. Another thing that would be really helpful so again, I would never publish a video where it's an AI model of my voice. I would always just speak. But having an AI speak for me, for myself, so I can determine what it sounds like would be interesting. Another thing where AI really could help me is, like many people, when I wake up, my voice is kind of gravelly, and it sort of hits its peak at a certain time of the day. And then if it gets real tired, it can get real clamped up, or it gets really gravelly again at night. And of course, my energy level will change in the day. Sometimes I'm really tired. And those changes can show up even in one day as I'm recording a video, even if it's voice only. And it'd be nice sometimes for me to tell the AI, like, I said that last sentence in a low energy way. Could you make it sound like I had a little bit more energy? But as you start doing that, you start getting into like, well, is it authentic or not? Like, is it misleading if I did that or not? Right. Anyway, I'm just curious if anyone has any thoughts about that. Let's see. And yes, when I say Japanese art, I mean mostly anime, manga, style commercial art. You know it when you see it. Anime focus on being on model and consistent nowadays, okay? Look, given my age, you guys probably know the kind of anime I like. I like 90s anime, okay? That's the style I like. So the newer art style looks too, it's gonna sound terrible, it looks too perfect to me, right? I know it's good, I mean, it's like really good, but like, if you ever saw like Macross, sorry, I know it's a little bit old, but like, and you can just see how few frames there are. I'm totally okay with that style. If Gen AI could replace in-betweeners or even keyframes, they will do it. Yeah, I believe that. Okay, back to Reddit. Let's just see what's going on here. Okay, someone answer this. I think I would probably just say Open Tablet Driver is an alternative. Let's just see. Open Tablet Driver. So I'll just tell this person also using Open Tablet Driver may be an alternative. I try to sell Open Tablet Driver, so to speak, every chance I get. The biggest tragedy of anime art is poster paint backgrounds being replaced by 3D models and post-processed lighting. Yeah, those poster painted backgrounds are one of the hallmarks of what I like in anime. So to see that change would make me sad, because it is quite beautiful. No, I love the style. Actually, I'm going to give you an example. It's not anime, but I'm going to show you another example of something which has backgrounds which have their own aesthetic, which are very different from what's in the foreground. So give me a second. I'm going to make sure I don't have the audio, because that'll trigger a YouTube copyright strike immediately, of course. Let me mute. How do I mute this window? mute. I guess I have to go to YouTube, then I'm going to mute it, huh? Oh, let's see. You shouldn't be able to hear anything here, but just in case. Oh, Tom Buck. What is it? Let's see. Bugs Bunny. Paul Bunyan. Okay. Yeah, Lumberjack Rabbit. Yeah, okay. This is good enough. Actually, let's try this. And ride. Yeah, there we go. Okay, WP Kids. So you can't hear this, that's okay. But what I wanted to show you is, this is a Looney Tunes cartoon. Okay, and I'm not asking you to look at the Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd. Oh, you can't see it, you can't see it. Okay, don't worry, we're gonna show. Okay, oops, not that one. That should do it, okay. Now you should be able to see it. So, take a look at the style here. The foreground is very different from the background, right? And some of these backgrounds are just so artistic and interesting, and obviously hand-drawn. This cartoon was done, in the 1940s? Like World War II was going on when this was made, okay? And sometimes I will just pay attention to the backgrounds, even, right? Which are quite beautiful and aesthetic. And like these trees here. Actually, that's a good example here. Look at this, right? That's actually amazingly beautiful in how it looks. And if this was done through 3D models and things, I don't think it would have the same charm, honestly. Okay. When was this? Looney Tunes. I'm going to find out the exact date of this because I'm really curious. Bugs Bunny. The Ride of the Val. Because I think it's really old. Valkyries. Wikipedia. What's opera, Doc? Okay, not quite World War II. 1957. Okay? But like that's how old that is. Void. Oh, sorry. Rain Soaked Puppy. Just to make sure, I do agree with you that the difference between streamlining production processes and creating derivative works, right? Like from scraped data. Totally agree with what you're saying. Let's see, Void Out says, is it like a full-time work monitoring subreddits if you don't remember? Honestly, yeah. I like doing it, don't get me wrong, but it can be overwhelming. I mean, it's not like I'm getting paid to do it. It can be overwhelming because it's so many people are having problems, and sometimes problems take real time to address, right? And I feel so... I never feel like impatient with people. There are only two things I feel bad about. Number one, I can't help some people because I don't know what the problem is, right? Color calibrations, like I have no idea how to help people. Another example is classic, no pressure with Photoshop. Photoshop is so bad for debugging what the pressure issue is. It's incredibly difficult. And sometimes people things break with their tablets, like the screen is cracked, or something bad happens to it, which is not their fault, right? That the display starts showing a bunch of weird lines, which they cannot fix. The tablet's completely busted then. And I hate it. I hate that because you can just see the frustration. Like they have deadlines. and they don't have the money to get a new tablet, and they have to get a new tablet now. It's very, I mean, I just hate that feeling of seeing them. Or another one which really bothers me is parents buy their kids tablets, and you can just feel the stress in the parent as they write. Like they're so like they want their child to have this amazing experience, and the tablet just isn't working out of the box, or there's some problem that, and they feel so bad that they can't give their child this amazing experience. So that can be overwhelming day after day, right? So it does feel like a job sometimes, but sometimes you help people and they're like so happy. Like, I don't care if they thank me. I'm just happy that the problem is solved. I want them drawing. I don't want them debugging problems, right? So again, if anyone wants to be a mod of one of the drawing tablet subreddits, let me know. And also, again, my question for everyone is, should I merge some of the subreddits? Should I merge Huion and XP Pen and R Drawing Tablet into one subreddit called R Drawing Tablet or not? Curious if anyone has thoughts there. A lot of old school anime directors have Tom and Jerry on their top 10 anime for good. Yes, I agree. That was some classic stuff. Thanks so much, Voidouts. It is. I love helping people. I love helping people. I can't help them with everything, but those that I can, it makes me very happy. Okay, let's see what else we got here for these XP Pen. We got that one. Now this is a classic problem. Their driver, or Wacom Center in this case, does not show that the tablet is connected. So this is a tough one. I have a troubleshooting guide for this, but it can be a tough problem to solve. I've never found a reliable answer for this problem. I can tell you what I think is going on. I think, besides connection problems, I think that sometimes tablets get into weird states, and like the firmware is just stuck, and the computer cannot talk to the tablet, even though it knows it's there. Even though the driver cannot talk to the tablet, even though the computer knows the tablet is there. If this helps. Let's see, Ben Boykmas says, I think not merging is better. Provide a dedicated channel for brands to look into later if they want. This again is a place where AI could help me, because there's just so many questions. But yeah, I think I'll leave it alone now. Let's just see how it develops. It would be funny if Arch uses Arch Linux. It seems really appropriate, Mir. In fact, I actually thought that's probably why Arch picked the name Arch, is because he uses Arch Linux. Let's see. Oh, that's an interesting question. Cintiq Pro worth used in 2025? I wouldn't recommend it anymore. I wouldn't recommend it. I wonder what people are saying, though. Let me upvote this. Why did Reddit remove this? I'm going to approve it. I try to upvote Wacom support whenever I can. Let's get back to our Wacom. I don't want best, I want new. I don't want to miss any things. Ever since recent update, my displays refuse to mirror. I use a Wacom 13-inch tablet, Wacom 113. Refuse to mirror. Forcing. That's weird. Windows 11, Wacom 1. I'll say here, if you can't get mirrored, can you share a screenshot of the Windows display settings where it won't let you mirror, but only extend? Is there a difference if you use different ports for the displays? Sometimes I like people to just switch ports just to see if it happens. What happens? Yeah, Koya, I agree with you. I don't think 16 Pro is worth it. Unless it's, as you said, just like this really lower price. Frankly, I think right now the new Cintiq 24, the non-Pro that's about to come out, is better than the previous Cintiq Pro 24. I anticipate, there's not going to be a fan, so no noise. I think the color will probably be better. It'll be smaller because the bezels won't be as large. So I think it's, I think it's not a great choice right now. But again, at a lower cost, it's probably fine. Hover dot, I answered that. Wacom screen. This guy has no answers here. When I connect my Wacom 1, screen lags, no signal. I've got a troubleshooting guide for no signal. See if this helps. You'll see me say that all the time. See if this helps. Let's see. Someone was asking earlier if it's like a job working on answering all these questions to Reddit, and I said sometimes it's difficult. And truthfully, I try to go on Reddit every day to answer questions. But sometimes it gets overwhelming that I need to take a vacation, so to speak. Every couple of weeks, I just, I need to just not pay attention to Reddit. Because it just can get a lot to deal with. Again, because so many people are unhappy, right? And while I'm out here, I want to check the Wacom store. I keep checking to see if it is the 23rd, and I feel like Wacom's. I wonder if the 16 inches available yet for purchase. That's what I want to know. Hello. Let me take a quick look at my phone. Let's see. Not yet. So I ordered the 24-inch touch, as I mentioned. Um, it should come. Let me check if Wacom sent me anything. It should have shipped already. Let's see. Uh-oh. Let's see. They got a date for me. Guess what? I'm getting it. They literally just sent me 2 hours ago a FedEx tracking update. So today is officially Monday morning for me. So it says the 24 touch should arrive on Tuesday. Okay. So what that means, and it says, let me double check this. Is that right? Scheduled delivery Tuesday, June 24th. Okay, this is good. This is a good update. And there's one more email here. Yep, I got another email from Wacom saying that. Okay, so tomorrow, meaning Tuesday, not tomorrow like my morning, but I'll get the 24 touch. And so what I'm going to do is very simple. That's actually why I set up this view. Let me show it to you. That's not it, sorry. That's why I set up this view. I'm going to expand the view out so you can see the 24-inch touch, and we're going to do a live stream on it. And then, of course, we'll use that as the basis for a video. So I can't wait for that. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah, I just have a lot of energy void outs for some reason tonight. In fact, my energy's actually been growing as I've been doing the stream. I don't know what causes that, but I just feel really good. Let's see. Let's just continue. Okay, I think I got a good number of these on Wacom. Now look at XP Pen. Mir says, he'll be offline 25th to 1st July. Oh, okay. Nice vacation. Well, you will be missed, Mir. You'll be missed. Let's see. This is XP Pen. Using my drawing pad on my tablet. Okay, so this person's saying the cursor is inverted. When it draws horizontally, it draws vertically. XP Pen, so first question is, does it happen in other apps besides Medibang? It's one of the common questions. Does it happen in other apps, and does it happen on the desktop? That tells us things. Now, I think what normally would happen is there's a rotation field somewhere in the XP Pen driver, and that's doing a rotation, but we got to see this. Medibang. Estronji. I've had the 24 in my cart since the announcement, waiting for review. Look, I think it's going to be a fantastic tablet. Okay, maybe I'm being naive, right? Maybe Wacom's got some surprise for me where I'm going to be like, I don't like it. I don't think so. The specs seem to tell me a clear story. It's got the same Wacom tech I like, which is the best in the industry. And the display looks like it'll be good. It won't have noise. So the only thing I'm scared of right now is heat. I think they've got it under control, but that's the one thing I am actually a little bit concerned about. So I'm going to run it at 100% for an hour, see if it gets hot. I'll do that on stream, so you'll see it. I've got my infrared camera as well. But I'm expecting it to be a total home run for them, an absolute home run. Now, since it's arriving Tuesday, I have basically 36 hours to prepare a slide deck, right? So I'll do that tomorrow. Directly influencing purchases. It's a quite a compliment. Some people are waiting for my content. Uh, Again, I don't even consider myself a reviewer. I mean, reviewers are like Brad Colbo and Tio on Tech. I just tell you, I evaluate the tablets and tell you what I think, uh, focusing on a lot of technical details. And other people have different approaches. Certainly, Brad is more about an all-over review of it, like as a complete device, and Tio dives deep into lots of things. Uh, my goal is always remember to educate the audience about certain things that aren't talked about with drawing tablets. So, not, let me tell you the things that I'm proud of. Okay. Number one, I think. Not, I'll brag a little bit. I don't think people talk about tilt compensation at all until I made a lot of videos, right? I think now people talk about tilt compensation. That was one thing I think I can point to, right? I think people talked about diagonal wobble before I came around, but I think I'd like to add more there. I think definitely pressure curve discussion and pressure levels was nowhere near. I don't think the reviewers have quite caught up yet. I'd like them to talk about that more, because I measure the pressure response, right? And as far as I know, I'm the only. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say only. I think I'm one of the few people who strongly, explicitly says more than 2,000 levels of pressure is not useful. I don't think anyone else talks in such sharp terms about what is actually needed. Let's see, Mir said it's more of a family vacation. I'll be locking my door and drawing 24/7 when the tablet arrives. So they're just taking me everywhere before the tablet. Got it. The 22 Pro, yeah, the Cintiq Pro 22, that is really nice. And listen, Astronji, if I had one disappointment with these new models, I wish Wacom had introduced a Cintiq 22. I really think 22 is a better intermediate size than 24. I think it gives you 95% of the benefits of a 24-inch, and with a significantly easier to work with form factor. That's my preference. 22 is my favorite size. The surprise is going to be an explosively formed penetrator, courtesy of the Wacom Death Squad. Finally getting rid of Subject 7. To be honest, Arch, I don't think Wacom, I'm not sure they hate me. I just don't know if they particularly have fond feelings toward me. Because I'm not, I criticize them for so many things, like their failure, as promised, to release an update that gave Pro Pen 3 compatibility with their older tablets. The bad pressure handling in their new Wacom One Pen tablets, right? And I think they deserve that criticism, but I praise them for so much, right? So I think they're probably not out to kill me, but probably they don't want to see me criticized as much, I would say. But look, I want to interview their CEO, Nobu Ide. I'm not famous enough for that yet, but maybe with a few more videos, I can actually convince them to get him on camera for me. I think that'd be really nice. Let's see, other content creators feel more like ads while users are actually getting into the woods. Well, I think that one of the feedback I get from people who I talk to is, actually, let me just back up just so it's ever clear. the approach I have for reviewing tablets is very informed by when I was trying to buy a car back in 2021. And there's so many channels that measure how cars work. They'll try it, they'll tell you how it feels, but they'll also say, here's the volume, if you're inside talking, here's how loud it is. And I thought it was really nice. It gave you a much better description about what you're actually getting. For me, noise is important, so I want cars that are quiet inside. And I noticed in tablet reviews, and people have told me this isn't just me, they've said lots of reviews end up saying, well, it felt nice to draw with, which is fair because sometimes you do have to say things like that. In car reviews, they say the car feels connected to the road, has a nice feeling there. And that's the best you can do to talk about that experience part of it. But there are many other things you can be much more certain about. And I like to go a little further into the part we can be certain about and measure, because I want to see that things are actually improving, right? And I also wanted deliberately to take, what's the right word? I wanted to separate what marketing says from what you would experience, at least the parts I can measure. Right? I will say, Art, you got a good point. Most reviews are ads. To be fair, I think Brad Cobo and TO and Tech, I don't think their reviews are ads. I think they're very clear when things aren't working for them and very honest. There's several times, both for TO and Brad, where for a popular brand like Wacom, they've just said, nope, I don't like this. And they wouldn't recommend it, right? So they've voiced their opinion very clearly. Now, there are some reviews where I feel like they're not really reviewing the tablet. They're just telling you what the spec sheet says. And at the least they can do is tell you, things they notice about the tablet, like the texture, they can at least do that. But if they're just going to repeat what it is, then it's not useful. I don't even mind if reviews are what do you call it? What's that? They always have the message at the top left of the screen. Not promoted, but what is it? They're sponsored. I don't even mind if a product is sponsored, right? Maybe one day I'll get a sponsor or something. I would never do it for a drawing tablet, but maybe something else. And I don't mind that, but just make a thorough review. That's all I ask. Just make a thorough review. Ben Boykman says, I think having a lot of those technical details documented makes your content stand out. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm very proud of the fact that, I write down things like that, right? And it's stuff you won't find, right? Let me just give you an example. I did the Wacom Intuos Pro 2025 review. I wanted to show you, just today, Tablet Expert Cube asked me to check something. And let me just show you this to you. Hang on. Yeah. I just did this today. I want to show you how, something I think I do that other people did not do. You can debate whether it's useful or not, but Cube asked me to test the hover height. And he asked me to test it with Open Tablet Driver, so I did that and Wacom Driver. So I tested on all three models with two different pens, talking about when the pen was initially detected, and then once you pulled away, what's the maximum height at which it's detected for hover height. And this is something that I don't think everyone needs to do, but I'm kind of proud that it's pretty clear that I, have a good understanding and go to the extra lengths for understanding this tablet, right? This kind of stuff probably an OSU player may care more about than your normal drawing person like me, right? See, Mir says Brad does diagonal wobble almost every time. He does. He does. And I need to make a video about testing diagonal wobble. The only thing, Brad, he calls it mechanical wobble, which I don't like that term because it's not mechanical. It has nothing to do with the mechanics of the nib moving or anything like that. It's completely electromagnetic. So I just would like him to use a slightly different phrasing for that. Art says, I'm not sure how Wacom sees things, but leading companies often see company media relations as purely transactional. So they assume that if you damage them in some way, you're benefiting somehow. Interesting. Like, by damaging the reputation, you're getting something out of it. I had not honestly considered that. I read some 60s cars reviews in some old magazines. They had engineers measuring the frequency response in different modes, none of the really technical stuff. And look, I think one day it'd be awesome if I don't have to measure these things, right? I want all tablets to be so good we don't even think about it. But until they get there, I'm going to be measuring. And there's things I can't measure right now that I wish I could. Remember, you cannot manage what you don't measure. And it's only those things that you measure that get fixed. Yeah, and Archer, right. OEMs just, they provide less technical detail. Yeah, and you're right, Rainsoak Puppy. There are many more things besides raw numbers, right? I'll give you just a trivial example. With the Intuos Pro 2025, I talked about how soft it was to draw. Like, how warm the surface, not warm like hot, but like, or heat, but like, to the touch it didn't feel cold. And it was a very pleasant experience, and it made it feel more pleasant to draw. And like, there's no numbers to explain that. You have to talk in subjective ways. That's the truth. Yeah, one reason, Arch, I focus on the raw numbers is, again, I'm trying to elevate the level of discussion, right? I mean, I will have succeeded if I get people to stop fixating on number of pressure levels, right? In fact, I'm going to do another video, which is going to be less technical, but just more to the point about why you shouldn't need more than 2,000 levels of pressure. Yeah, these are good examples, Rainsoak Puppy, about the feelings of the dials and the way the pen grips the surface, right? You've got, I think those add to the feeling. Like the Intuos Pro 2025 has a really good feeling. Now I know people don't like the, I don't want to call it sharp, but that edge of the bezel. But it feels good to draw on. Honestly, it does. Let's see, Ben Boykman says, I have a proposal for the end of the year. If I am free of my activity making websites for underground JP musician albums, those penproof data, I can make a tool that displays it. Oh, interesting. I'd love to see that, Ben Boykman. If you can make a tool that displays the graphs and compares them. Let's see, you were pretty active in earphone reviewing website with technical graph data. Oh, okay, great. So you sort of have some intuitive knowledge of how to do this already. For April Fools next year, you should make a normal stream wearing a pen mascot and just ignore any comments measuring it. You know what? I'm sort of two minds about doing an April Fool's episode. Like, I actually, in my mind for a moment, I was thinking I should announce a fake Wacom product. Actually, let me just tell you what the idea was. But I'd get in trouble, I think. Okay. What I was going to do, again, let's just make sure. In fact, let me, I'm going to add, let me add some text here for a second. And yeah. Okay, let me just add this. Okay. Let's move my face. Okay. Oops, I added the wrong thing. Review questions. Yeah, sorry. I am joking right now. Okay. I'm not being serious. I'm not being serious. This is just a joke. The text says that. Okay. What I wanted to do on April Fool's was announce a new product from Wacom or a service. Okay, maybe a product would be better, and it was going to be the. Bear with me. It was going to be called something like the Wacom Pro Pen Max. Okay, and it was going to be the one pen solution for all Wacom products. Okay, that was going to unlock, and so it was going to feature two things to really do that. One was it let you scale your needs. What that means is you paid more to unlock features. Like the pen, when you got it, didn't have tilt. But because maybe you don't need it, so you would pay $30 to unlock tilt. Okay? That's part one. Part two is it wouldn't, and you unlock other features like the eraser. Like you'd have a physical eraser, but it wouldn't work unless you paid. Number two is you didn't pay one time. It would be a subscription service for pressure and tilt and the eraser. Okay? And number three, which is going to just drive it over the edge, is to incorporate Gen AI into the Pro Pen Max, where it featured an onboard AI model to improve your strokes, right? And I was going to release that video, and I don't know. The problem that is, like, it sounds too plausible that people might think I was being serious, and then I'd get in real trouble for that. But that was my idea. Let's see. Okay, maybe a better April Fool's, actually, which doesn't get me in trouble, is someone asked me in one of my streams, they asked me to review a pen and paper. And I did. I just live went through and started creating like a summary of what was good about pen and paper. So I might actually do that because there are actually some interesting things to say about pen and paper as a tablet. You can make a one about reviewing a mouse, how good it is when it comes to drawing, but actually using a drawing tablet when actually drawing. Interesting. So I'm using them, like I'm telling them I'm using a mouse, but actually using a tablet when I'm drawing. Yeah, Voidats, they would hate me. And lots of people would believe it because it's very plausible. Like, of those three things, pay to unlock features, pay on a subscription, and AI model, two of them are possible, and the third one is also, you could see the first two actually being done, and the third one is actually plausible, right? Oh, Arts, this is great. Strokes from left to right included in baseball. Strokes from right to left optional in premium package. Yeah, so it has a lot of potential. Premium package for Pro Pen Max, MSRP, yeah, $600, exactly. Rainsoak Puppy, I can imagine the Pro Pen Max spreadsheet with different features being unlocked or for almost every current tablet Every sub-level unlocks random things for different tablets. What are they in games? There's something you pay that's like betting that people try to ban because is it loot boxes? Is there some way we could incorporate that into a Wacom pen? Loot boxes? Anything that would create drama. Voidot, you like the idea of reviewing pen and paper? I can do it. It's easy to do, actually. Review a rock drawn on a concrete wall, like those caves. There's the animals drawn in caves. I just want to point out this is not just an OSU thing. Well, it's not important for display tablets. I think you're talking about hover height. Yeah, so I want to do something fun. It doesn't have to be for April Fools. I actually don't like to do April Fool's stuff because, like, you don't know how. Sorry, it's not about offending people. It's about. It's not always possible to tell that someone's joking, especially if you're from a different culture. Something you can say to you sounds obvious like a joke, but it just sounds like you actually are saying that. For someone, for example, who may not be a native speaker. Voidot says, how about a reverse tablet, like the Samsung Galaxy Tab with the static pen? Oh, that's like it reminds me of like a fake SNL commercial or something, right? That's actually intriguing. Don't review pen and paper. Display tablet sales would plummet. Wacom would go out of business by the end of the month. No cursor lag. Tilt and barrel rotation included in base model. No cursor lag. Wouldn't it be great if we could pay to get rid of cursor lag? I'd like that. So yeah, I just want to do something fun. Gotcha mechanics for your stylus. Congratulations, you've unlocked pressure levels. Yeah, specific numbers have been unlocked. Or how about they try to gamify using your tablet? Like, hang on, I'll show it to you for a second. Hopefully it'll work. Give me 1 second. What the hell? Well, I had Subway Surfers on, and I just thought, wouldn't that be funny if you're doing something and like, in order to like use your pen for more than 30 minutes a day, you had to like play like Subway Surfers or something. I'm obsessed with Subway Surfers. Let's see, Mir says, hover height is important when it comes to non-display tablets. For pen tab, okay. A lot of people, including me, do ghosting when making a line, and I seem to hover my pen quite up, back and forth. Sorry, quite back and forth. You make a lot of strokes in the air? Is that, I'm trying to understand that. Art says, reiterating my earlier comment, I think it might be doable to measure actuation forces for buttons with a durometer. Durometer. I've never even heard that word before. A durometer. I'm intrigued if we could measure that. Let's see, can you put TikTok Subway Surfers playing besides for Gen Z to pay attention? Hey, people have brought this up so often, I'm going to do it. Especially on a stream like this where we're just chatting. I'll send a video about ghosting. Yeah, please, I'd like to see that. You've drawn 4 meters. Watch this ad to earn 1 more meter. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, look, I'm half joking when I say this, but like, it is every company's dream for you to pay without end, just for what you have, right? It's their dream. It's just they want to turn anything you have into a not a button, a money printing machine that just goes forever. And of course, we don't want that, right? I'm going to turn off the I am joking right now thing. Durometer, durability o-meter. Okay, let's see, live stream. Let's take a look.
A common mistake artists make when drawing is not ghosting their lines. Ghosting is a technique where you mimic the movement of the line before you actually put down the line. The benefit to this is that it allows you to practice the line before placing it, so that when you place it, it'll look exactly the way you want. On top of that, it allows you to think about whether or not this is the correct line. A common mistake artists make when drawing the ear is not changing the thick.
I somehow clicked on the wrong thing. But I get what your point is. Yes, I didn't realize that had a name. I always just called it like practicing the line or something. But it makes sense. It makes sense. That absolutely made sense. Let's see. Okay, my friends, it's now 3 a.m. for me. So I've been going on for 3 hours and 30 minutes. It seems like 3 hours, 30 minutes is pretty much my time for when how much I have, energy I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream in a minute. I do want to thank you for your time. This was fun. I'm going to do more of these. I think it's nice sometimes just to hang out, right? And see what people are talking about. I'll hang on for a few minutes to see if there are any more questions. Oh, you didn't see the video I was playing either, did you? Of course I did not do that correctly. Let's see if I can, just so people can see it. This was the video that Mir shared. So it's about the common mistake, and ghosting was just trying the line out before you actually draw it. So now I understand why hover was important in this case. Thanks, Ramir. Voiduts, thanks for joining us. I absolutely do appreciate that you joined us. You want a cheeky sneak peek at the Cintiq print? Are you talking about the new tablet? I don't have it yet. It's going to come in like 36 hours, roughly. I'd be happy to show it to you if I had it. Honestly, I would. All we have now is what's on Wacom's website. Thank you, Mihal. Thank you. Is it wrong to stay up that late? It's not wrong. It's just I'm feeling my brain is now telling me, like, my eyelids are starting to get heavy. I can sort of tell. It is good to get good sleep. Let me tell you that. 8 hours is very beneficial for almost all people. Okay. I think that's it. Again, everyone, thanks for your time and being on the stream and chatting. This is fun, and I'll do more of these. We'll have more, just kind of hang out for a while, okay? Yeah, Vodo, hopefully you can catch it. I will try to do the stream. It's kind of dependent on when the tablet comes. I will try to do the stream the minute the tablet occurs, right? So we'll see when that's going to be. It could be in the day, it could be in the evening or in the afternoon. I don't know. Okay, everyone. Thanks again. Have a great night. Okay, now I'm going to end.